You ever see something so true that you couldn't unsee it? Something that you just knew would serve you. Whether it be self-awareness, plant medicine, a lover, a career. That's what we get down to here. Welcome to Disciplined Stoners, the gateway drug to mindfulness. Spark up or don't, and enjoy the show. Glad you're here.
And welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners.
I'm your host, Ellevan.
My name is Winnie,
and we are the gateway drug to mindfulness. And today, we have such a treat. I say I have these secret weapons. This is one of them. This man is science in an applicable form in my life. He owns Lift the City Supplements. He manages that brand. He's a great example of a well-rounded, holistic, healthy human that's pushing the boundaries of keeping your body alive for longer periods of time and informing and bringing us lots of love along the way. Get your joints up for my man, Arty of Lift the City Supplements.
Let's go. Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah,
well, thank you.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, represent.
Yes, sir.
It's like Superman.
Yeah.
Dude, you go hard for your brand. So much that when I'm out here putting up stickers, it's like who's gonna hit the pole first?
Yeah.
Me or Arty?
Yo, every time I put up a sticker, I'm like, yo, Disciplined Stoners. I actually try to go right beside you guys because it's just the energy. I'm all about energy, just like you guys. Yeah. It has to be like that. And I'm like, and I even like with Alana when she's going around, I'm like, look, I'm like, let's put it up. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are everywhere.
Yes, sir.
That's all him. I don't think I've ever put up one sticker.
No, I made you put up one time, remember?
Yeah.
I'm like, here, take this and do it. How you doing, bro?
I can't complain. Today is a beautiful day. We're here, you know what I mean? So that's beautiful. And life is good.
Shout out Alana for allowing you to be here today. Not allowing in that way, but just helping out.
She stepped in. I should be still at work right now, and you know, God blessed me with this opportunity to come and talk to you guys. And we've known each other for so long that I asked her, and she said yes, 100%. She always supports.
We needed to make it happen. Finally.
Yeah.
You have so much value in your brain as a human being, but I'd love to just share our story of how our paths cross and how our energy aligns. And a huge point of value that you can offer the show as well is like managing a business and successfully and staying alive in a competitive market and
in brick and mortar space.
Yeah, and the way that you treat people with an experience. Just tell us about your store and stuff and why you're passionate about that.
I like that you said that because it is an experience. You know what I mean? Because there is so many other brick and mortar stores and supplement stores and other businesses in general.
I don't know about those.
Well, they're out there, right? But it's about that experience, right? But how I started is I actually moved to Toronto. I'm 40 now. And,
What a babe!
Look at that skin.
I know.
Hit the big 4-0 this year.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So I moved to Toronto at 30, and I had the opportunity to open up my first location as I was under a franchise brand. Did that for a little while.
That's where we met.
Yes, exactly.
Right here on City Place.
That's where the story began. Mm-hmm. Right downtown Toronto, City Place, just down the street. And I opened up that first shop. And it was a great experience. I got to learn. I got to meet so many good people. Did that for about 7 years until, the year of...
The C word?
The C word happened. And that was an experience, as a business owner or anybody.
Oh my God.
Just as a civilian.
Yeah.
I got a double whammy, though, as a civilian and business owner. Because that was something that was... It's like I almost had a pause because like reliving it right now, it was very hard.
It's traumatic.
Yeah, it was.
But it brought people like us together, though,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do, because it was that we came together. I gotta say, in contentious issues, there's two ways to go. There's one where you meet people who also don't like it, and you guys sit around and complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you meet other folks who also don't appreciate the state of how something may be handled, but they're proactive about it.
100%.
And they're looking for what they can do in their realm of you can only control what your hands are on.
That's right.
So when I met you, I was like, oh my God, there's light in this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We both like domain over our own bodies. Let's just put it like that.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Wrong with that.
No, you know what? It's one of those things where it's like you're faced with things in life, and it's not that we're not going to be faced with things moving forward. It's just always how do we react to them. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. And it's almost like that test, you know, from God, which created this universe that we live in. You know, and this universe tests us. You know what I mean? Under certain circumstances, and it's not that their tests are supposed to be there, you know, but we're supposed to react in a certain type of way to kind of show, are we able to handle the next level? Because that's your test. I'm like, if you can't handle it, kind of you stay right there, you stay stagnant.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And then you have your next, you know, how long do you want to stay at that level? And then at that level, you keep moving forward. And if there's another test that comes, if you haven't learned anything from, and it could be from anything, it could be business, relationships, it could be friendships.
Often all at the same time.
Same time, even, you know, the big shebang, you know, everything. It could all happen all at one time. And it's like, it could break people. You know what I mean? And then we have to dig deep, you know, spiritually, you know, physically, because some people fall apart in that way too as well. And we have to kind of break through. And then from that experience, what did we learn? You know what I mean? So, you know, COVID, you know, I shouldn't have said that word.
That's okay.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said it. Beep. Beep that. But the C word, you know, YouTube and all the algorithms, you know what I mean? It was one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know, got faced with some circumstances that if I didn't pivot, you fall apart. You know what I mean? And I was almost at that.
So yeah, what did pivoting look like for you after 7 years of being in business and figuring it out, and then you get hit with this curveball?
Yeah. It looked at this basically. Do I want to stay in this? Do I want to stay in this field? You know, do I continue being a supplement store? And, you know, I love having a supplement store, but it's greater than just a supplement store. It's something that allows me to have like a nice little platform where I get to speak to people about how we connected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On spiritual things, fitness things, health things,
so
that whole experience that you're talking about.
I want to give, I'll fill in this blank about like when you go into Art's store, you're so confident that you're going to get the right thing. It goes beyond supplements. He will inform you. He will take your situation and intention and like do a very special like mental calculation and like inform you of options, even if he doesn't have those products. He's like, well, you this, and it's like you care. You're like a new age witch doctor. You're like come in, but it's not a witch doctor at all.
You're creating like health, maintaining health prescriptions.
Yeah, you have
to calibrate.
You figure out. It's such a beautiful, all-encompassing experience that like inspires me every time I'm in your store. Like we're not just like I'll go in for like I think we met. Oh, of course, the BioSteel.
The BioSteel.
Yeah. I clear out his BioSteel. I love BioSteel, so there's that. But also, I think first I just came in for like protein or creatine or something. You get into things like demetalling, decalcifying, you add and subtract and whip and just all this great information, and finally getting clear answers for things that, like, as someone who's worked out, never really got a clear answer from going somewhere. It's like, okay, BCAA is like, what is this acronym? Like, you know, every time I go in, I get an education with it. And
100%.
That's a huge energy you bring to it, because it's very hard to even monetize that. It's like, you're right. It's not just the dollars and cents of buying the products. It's getting it from you and the thorough vision.
Why, if I may, what got you into...
Yeah, why do you care so much?
Like, why do you care about the body? Why do you care about its function? How did you get here?
That's so amazing that you guys actually asked that, because as you're speaking, I'm thinking about like my journey.
Yeah, as a person, to why do you want to sell supplements, or why do you give me a fucking graduate degree every time I buy something? Because
one is like, I'll tell you how I got there, but one is like, you can take all the supplements that you want. You know, you can go work out all you want. You know what I mean? Actually, exercise has proven that you won't even really get you real weight loss. I mean, yes, you get stronger, and it does have a lot of benefits and stuff like that, but it's like, you can do everything wrong and go exercise. That's why there's so many people that are stuck.
Got to do it mindfully.
Right? There's the plateau. You know what I mean? And the plateau it's like, yeah, you're working out. Cool. Your body might be reshaping itself a little bit. That's cool. But you hit that wall within 2-3 months as soon as your body adapts. And then nothing changes.
Even if you're leveling up the amount of weights or the like how fast your heart rate is going.
Yeah, that will have that to a certain point will get you somewhere, will get you stronger. It will change your body roughly a little bit, but there's still a level that if you still don't wake up the right way, you don't sleep the right way, you don't eat the right way, you have to work on the internal, hormones and organs, you know what I mean? And then when you stack it with a lifestyle, yes, it's always good to exercise. You know what I mean? It's good for the mental state. It's good for the brain. It's good for health. It's good for dopamine. It's good for building lean muscle mass so that way you can burn more calories as you age. It's good for the stability. It's good for prevention of, sarcopenia and anything like that, where we lose muscle as we age. You know what I mean? And then we don't want to lose that muscle because that's our frame. And that's what allows us to be strong moving into further in life. We take it for granted that we're younger. And as you get older, walking up the stairs might be a challenge where today we're not thinking about it. Or even worse, walking up the stairs might be a little easier, but walking down the stairs where your legs have to support a lot of that weight. So there's a lot more to it. And, when you stack, and it's so hard because everything can throw you off. The chemicals in our food, all the hormonal problems that we get from plastics, you know what I mean? Heating up the food and eating out of a plastic, out of a microwave. You know what I mean? How was that food grown? What was that food sprayed with? What did that animal get fed? How was that animal treated? You know what I mean?
How do you not get overwhelmed with the amount of information there is just to treat our one body? Like everything that you just said is probably like this much of like how you're actually holistically looking at a body. And all of that kind of sounds really hard and scary.
It is, and only in these times. It is in these times because we were never challenged this way before. You know what I mean? Food was real. Our parents didn't have to eat fake food because the food was real. So we didn't have to. We didn't have to think about And then back in the day, it's funny. I'll quote my dad. Because I said, "Oh, look, Dad, when the whole C thing happened, we had to give out paper bags because plastic bags you weren't allowed to give out anymore." I'm like, "That's stupid." I'm like, "You're literally not allowing me to give people supplements in a plastic bag, but then you're going to force same person to go buy plastic bags to go throw their garbage out." I'm like, science. I mean, idiots. You know what I mean? So now you're cutting down more trees, using more products. Yeah. Meanwhile, it's like that we're recycling pretty much. That's, everybody has, had a little thing that everybody packed their grocery bags in so you could throw your garbage out, right? And it's like, so life wasn't like that before. We're fastly unraveling, our human structure, the way we're supposed to live is so off. And the reason I got into this so much is because back what you said, Whitney, why am I like this? Why do I care so much?
I was going to say, this is I think, to answer your point separately through him, there's a causality because he knows why it's important because you weren't born with the perfect frame, were you? You had your own personal journey. It's easy for this man to sit here beautifully toned today, glowing complexion and eyes and say, of course you're obsessed with the body. You wanted to look at it, but I believe you were solving a problem.
And that's how I came across all this. I grew up obese. So I was born in Poland, left Poland at 4. And moved to Germany, lived in, I believe, Munich or in Frankfurt, somewhere around there for a little while. Then we came to Canada. So at 7, I came to Canada in 1991. And I was lean, and then everybody talks about, genetics. I'm like, okay, if genetics have a role, then I should be chiseled to the rest of my life. I should have never got obese and fat because my dad was a soccer player in Europe. So I come from a father that played soccer, very athletic.
Way.
Yep, you know what I mean. He played semi-pro soccer there, Liga 1 in Europe. So it's like, then where are the genetics? But his famous quote by this one doctor I follow: genetics only load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Right. So I came here, and I'm not blaming Canada, but it's like what people don't realize is the microbiome is a real thing. This whole world is half of it is covered by fungus, I believe. And those are microbes and living organisms that are eating us and keeping us alive. So that's why an apple goes bad. That's why a steak goes bad. That's why if a cat dies and is left in a bag, that if you come back a month later, it'll be dust. You know what I mean? That's what will be left of that cat because the microbes will eat that cat. And that's what it is. We're recycling ourselves, and then we are part of the universe, and we come back and we regenerate, and that's how this whole planet works. Or else we'll be full of trash everywhere, because nothing would be breaking apart.
Mycelium, recycling, breath,
Yes.
in and out.
Yes.
Can I tell you real quick?
Yeah.
I watched that happen to a rat at a bike station dock over the course of like probably 6 weeks. No one ever cleaned it up, and it was just next to this bike rack that I visited often.
Yeah.
And every week it was just decomposing
Yes.
more and more, and
Those are the microbes.
I was like, you're being food to
Yes.
something.
Microbes.
Yeah.
So the microbes will eat that, you know what I mean, and they're fed.
Yeah.
So it's like the microbes will be there to begin life. It's just like we have been giving our first set of microbiome from our mothers when we came out of the canal, the vaginal canal.
Right.
And it's funny because when you come out, you're right by the butt. And usually there's a little push of air out of the butt that comes out when the baby comes out, from the research that I did. And that is your first set of microbes that you get from your digestive tract, right, from your colon. And those now breed in your body, and that's the army that you have to create. And that army has to be kept alive.
So my mom did shit in my mouth?
Everybody did. And that's the difference, is when you are born as a C-section baby,
Yeah.
that doctor better do a good job and swab
Shitting in your mouth.
maybe, and then swab the mother down there, and then put it on you, so that you get the first form. Because they don't do that for the rest of your life, you will have a horrible life, immune problems, deficiencies, because those microbes are essentially keeping you alive, and we'll get into that too.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, these microbes are your little army, and you actually have more microbes on your body than you have of your own cells, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
You have 30 to 60 pounds of this stuff living on you, depending on who you are. And that's why it's so important to eat a diverse diet, because if you don't feed those microbes go away, and then you have deficiencies. And the microbiome...
Probiotics.
Yes. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kombuchas, yogurts, culture. You know, right? Everything has to be fermented. You know what I mean? And that's where we're refeeding, and that's the probiotic. And then you have the prebiotic, and prebiotic is the fiber that we eat, and the prebiotic feeds those microbes. Because if those microbes don't get fed, a phenomenon happens when that's where people have like immune problems, deficiencies, and everything. Because those microbes will eat from your mucus wall. Your mucus wall on the inside has your stomach lining as well, and also all your intestinal tract. It's there to protect you. So when you eat food up here, you chew, and you have saliva that breaks down fiber. Your teeth break down the protein because the protein is heavy. When you break down the protein, then the food travels into your stomach. You have two sphincters, like a butt. You have a sphincter here on top of your stomach, and you have a sphincter at the bottom of your stomach capsule, and it's very important. So this is your digestive system, and this is how you stay healthy. So as you chew, just like when you think about food, what happens when you start thinking about food? What gets produced in your stomach?
Saliva.
Yeah, that's your body doing that without you even allowing it to do it.
I'm getting wet.
You're getting wet, and you're getting prepared, right? And that's what happens. You're now producing saliva, so you can break down the fiber, and that's why it's good to chew your food a lot, because that has to be kind of encapsulated within that saliva. Then the next phenomenon happens. You just signaled your body by chewing. That's why it's time to chew, or you'll choke. If you take 1 or 2 bites and you swallow, your sphincter, that's when sometimes you feel like the food isn't coming down. Because this sphincter, you start chewing, this sphincter goes, oh, she's feeding or he's feeding me. It opens up. Now the contents can go down. Finally, this opened up, and it can drop into your stomach. That stomach now is a capsule in here. And it has a lot of veins around it, and it kind of pulsates, and that's how the food tumbles inside there.
They massage it.
Yes. And then you have a sphincter at the bottom, and this keeps the contents in there. And then once you're done eating, this one closes up. Now you have acid in the stomach. The biggest mistake people do is eat and drink at the same time. You're diluting the acid in the gut.
You've been fucking in my head about this ever since you told me this. She never drinks and eats at the same time naturally.
And now you already know if you did that, you'd be bloated. You have indigestion, because why would you remove the acid from the stomach when that acid has to now break down the protein? That protein first got broken mechanically down with the teeth because it's strong, it's heavy. Protein is heavy to break. It demands about 30% of your energy to even break down protein. And that's why you become thermogenic. Your body temperature goes up. Yeah. And that's why when you eat heavy meats and stuff like that, it's hard on digestion, because your body goes up, temperature goes up, and it's hard to break down those proteins. There's a lot of work involved.
Do you eat red meat?
I do. I'm very particular. I eat more vegetarian. So I eat a lot of eggs. I'll eat a little bit of fish. I eat a lot of veggies, and a wide range of a lot of vegetables, because I know what they do. They give us life. You know what I mean? They give us life.
Love that.
Yeah.
Do you eat raw vegetables?
There's two ways of looking at it. Yes and no. I try to cook them down as long as I can trap the minerals still in the food. I like to cook them and raw. There's both ways of looking at it. Sometimes you have to cook them down if someone's digestive system's not working because they need that full first initial breakdown with heat. Steaming would be the best.
You fuck with steaming.
Steaming's not bad. Yeah, steaming, or I love slow cooking. You know what I mean? Just letting it kind of get very mushy and soft. Because like if someone has an overactive thyroid, I forgot the rule. If it's overactive thyroid, you want to eat cooked cabbage. If you have underactive thyroid, you want to eat raw cabbage. You know what I mean? Because I forgot the chemical process for your thyroid. It's crazy. And that's your body. That's why you can't give one diet for one person.
Yeah.
You can't teach a person to eat one way, even according to blood type, if you want to break it down further. You know what I mean? But let's get back to that. I want to get back to digestion because I want to finish that part.
Please.
So you're chewing, you're eating, and you told your body you ate, and I have acid in the stomach. And this sphincter will not open up because it says, well, if I open this up, acid will come into my intestines, right? So this sphincter keeps you alive because it's crazy how the body works, and this is happening.
Thank you, sphincter.
Yeah.
Number 2.
100%, right? And that's how your content stays in your stomach. But now check this out. What would be the problem if you ate a big meal, or sorry?
No, please do as you wish.
If you ate a decent sized meal and then 2 hours later you start snacking, so even chewing gum, that's what the whole thing. Now I understand why people say chewing gum can be bad for you, because chewing gum, just like chewing food, you're signaling your brain doesn't know. Just like looking at bright lights right now. If this is 10 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm telling my body it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Right. So by chewing gum, you're telling your body that you're eating again. Why could it be a big problem? What do you think?
Too much acid buildup.
Well, maybe. But now you just ate 2 hours ago, right? And now imagine you ate a snack or you're chewing gum 2 hours after. What could happen if this opens back up?
The acid could come back up.
Acid reflux, right?
Oh my god.
Snacking causes acid reflux.
It can. Not for everybody, but it can, and that's where people are like. Because think about it, right? Because now you have like this thing that food is now. And that's why I tell people, like, if you're gonna eat 30 minutes before your meal, drink enough water if you want. Fill up on the water. You still be hydrated, and you're like your whole body is a storage of water. You know, they're saying chin down 75% water, brain down 85% water, because your brain is to spend about 10% of water, roughly. Right, so your body has so much water to draw from. It can survive up to 3 days without water, right? So anyways, hydrate 30 minutes before your meal, and then eat your meal, and then let that food bathe in acid for an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you, you are coming at the perfect time in our lives.
That's why I told you it was supposed to.
It's divine. It's always divine. I think that we really need to hear this. We traveled a lot in April, and we've been we got lost in terms of nutrients and
what you put
food.
in is very important.
Yes.
Because even if we're in a good habit with like how we exercise or like how we treat our bodies, it's so important what you put into it. And just like, we have been.
You can feel it in your health too.
How you put it into it, but how can you even absorb it is the next question. Because you can put as much as you want, but are you actually absorbing it? You see, that's
our
the thing.
next chapter.
Right?
This is going to be called Digest This with Art.
I love you.
No, please. How do you optimize the absorbing?
Yeah. So here's the next part, right? So now, going to the digestion part, if you drank and ate at the same time, you're gonna wash all the acid away.
Fuck,
So,
I always do that. I love that combo.
so if we had a bowl of acid on the table here, and I'm like, let's dilute this acid. It could be water, it could be milk, it could be anything. We have to pour some kind of liquid to make the acid weak, right? So it's not that you have to wait 4 hours. Digestion takes up to 4 hours properly. So now here's the trick. How are you going to break down and absorb the minerals from the heavy meats that you ate or any food that you ate that is protein if you have no acid in the stomach?
I don't know.
Art. I don't think we are.
Yeah. Where it's like then we're eating, and that's where people kind of age faster if they don't have to. You know, and that's kind of what biohacking is. I don't do all the hooking up to machines and stuff like that. I go from biofeedback. I know how my body feels. I can see the swelling in my stomach if I don't follow the rules. What's up, buddy? If I don't follow the rules, I see what happens, and that's what biofeedback is. You get to see, and that's how it used to be. Now we have fun gadgets that we can test everything. And it's awesome. I love the doctors that do it all. I wish I had the funds for it, buying all these fancy machines. But try this, right? So now,
No,
Someone fund this man.
Yeah, and also I appreciate the intuitive way of thinking. I think that there's like wisdom in there, and I think if you like tell your body that you're looking for something, it will communicate with you in symbols. And
that's how I've been gifted since I was little. You know what I mean? And I want to get back to that too as well. Like how I got into this, like growing up. It's a little brownie, yeah, with collagen and stuff like that. I thought it might be the perfect little.
Arty brought us a few treats from his retail
these are some of my
store.
favorite snacks.
I knew you loved those, and this is new. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
He talks about this jerky all the time.
Yeah, they're from Ottawa. They're good, grass fed, not grass finished, but still good.
Wild Ridge, shout out Wild Ridge.
Not grass finished. What does that mean?
So like to fatten up the animal at the end, they feed it grains to make it fatter, so it's more marbled, so it's more tasty. If it's grass, that's a lot of people don't realize. If you look back in history in other countries right now in this time, if you go to another country, you probably see an animal there, and you see more of the ribs. Just like humans, you should see our ribs. You know, that's a good thing. Not like emaciated, where like you're super skinny. I'm talking about you should see the physique because now they're round. You know, so if you go to like Europe right now, you'd see cow in India. You see cows with like, and then people are like, "Oh my God, that cow is sick." I'm like, no, that cow is just eating grass because it has 3 stomachs, and that's what God meant it to do.
Yeah,
it's not meant to eat corn and wheat, which is making it more flame to see. I used to work at the keg. And
you have such a nice voice.
Yeah, and
it connects. It's very pleasing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I used to work at the keg, and I used to say it part of the spiel, you know, like the sizzle. That's what we used to call it. You know what I mean? And sometimes if a customer asks, well, "What was your cow fed?" we would say it's grain fed because the marbling is amazing. I didn't realize what I was saying back then. I was saying that we were fattening up the cattle so that you have a better flavor in your steak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But remember, that food, you're now absorbing it.
Wow.
So now you become what that cow ate and what that animal's feed got sprayed with, genetically modified foods, corn. They're not giving them good feed. Too much money.
Yeah.
So they make them fatter, and then they have to pump them with hormones to keep them alive, and that's why everybody's like, I want New Zealand whey, I want grass-fed whey, because they haven't been pumped with hormones, meaning we're going to have better dairy, less inflammatory. And that could be, and that, like the glyphosates and all that shit they spray all the food with, right? That goes into our organs, and that disrupts our hormones. You know what I mean? Just like heating food in plastic. The xenoplastics or whatever the hell they're called, they mess up especially with females' estrogen. You know what I mean? Your body thinks you have it mimics estrogen in a female body, and then you think you have your body stops producing estrogen. That's what throws off women's cycles. You know what I mean? They lead in progesterone, they still have testosterone, but they also have a lot of estrogen.
What does this? What food does this?
Plastics, microplastics.
From where? What
so if you heat your food in plastic, if you drink out of a plastic bottle. That's why I eat out of a glass. I drink out of glass.
Is that when it's like no BPA or whatever?
Yes. But if they got rid of no BPA, they probably have some other plastics that we didn't know about yet.
Yeah.
And it's leached into everything. Microplastics are in all the food and everything.
You can intuitively feel that. The old school Italians only with the fucking, it's like metal or porcelain.
Well, that's going back to what my dad said. I said, we got those paper bags. Remember, I'm all over the place. I talk a lot, so I apologize.
No, it's okay.
But talking about those paper bags.
Can I open this?
Yeah,
yes.
Do it up. So my dad's like, because I said, now we have to handle paper bags. This is when the C thing was going on. And he's like, well, I guess we're just going back to how it used to be, because it used to be paper bags.
Yeah.
And it used to be glass bottles. It used to be eating out of things like that. And then we've created so much fake things, plastic this, plastic that. Now, plastic is good for certain things, don't get me wrong. It's nice to have a plastic packaging sometimes, and it's very convenient because metal will be too costly. You're not going to give something in a cardboard box or in something like that. It just won't make any sense. Right, so plastic has its place, but that plastic is now leaching into us.
Yeah.
That plastic's leaching into our water. So if you don't filter your water properly, if you don't have a reverse osmosis filter to remove all the plastics and everything else, then you're screwed.
That's what happened with those.
I'm eating something out of plastic right now.
It's lined with it's lined with the metal, right? I believe that's food grade.
Food grade.
Yeah.
That's what happened with those tea bags, those synthetic tea bags.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
I heard about
there
that
was
too.
a whole thing like a couple years ago. They were like, you're drinking so much plastic when you use these. And we were all like, ooh, these are so fancy. And
old school machines, you press.
This is good.
Right?
Yeah.
The French presses, you know what I mean? And they had it right. They had it. But we try to commercialize everything. That's the problem.
Thanks, buddy.
With North American culture, we try to commercialize everything and make it fast. You know,
Yeah.
because you have to steep a tea.
We're so impatient.
Right? You're not gonna go to a coffee shop right now and be like, "Can I get a cup of tea?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, we're gonna steep it right now for you. Go sit down there, sir, and bring you a tea." Be like, "Boom, there you go." Makes no sense as a business,
They
right?
pop a bag in a hot cup of water and give it to you.
Give you a
and
little bit
it
of-
will steep on the way.
And no one's gonna give you like proper mesh things. You know what I mean? That the way it should be. But that's
What's the mesh then?
Well, no, like a mesh, like let's say like a mesh material made from
Oh.
cotton or something like that. It would be too costly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To maybe like steep something one time use and throw it out. Because I know you can buy the special ones that you can steep things in.
Yeah,
And-
like
and
metal ones.
metal ones. There's like mesh ones too as well. There's like other forms of it where they're like you're friendly for you, right? So that's
Like
like
David's Tea has really nice bags,
yeah, maybe.
like silky.
No,
Yeah.
those are the ones we're talking about. Those are the bad bags.
Those are bad.
Yeah, so like anything mainstream is bad. You know what I mean? So it's very hard to get like, but again, like you're traveling, like you said,
They don't actually. They've gone back to like this paper material. Now.
That'd be better.
Yeah, it is.
And that's up to us consumers, right? We just have to stop buying it, and then they stop producing because then they lose. If they lose 5% of their sales a year, I promise you, they'll all change their way. You know what I mean?
Do you
We're
research?
we're on a Loblaws strike right now.
Oh yeah, way too pricey. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, and it's like why? You know what I mean?
Why?
Why, right? And it's like, and it's so stupid because I wish healthy food was cheap and bad food was bad.
Yeah.
You would have too many healthy people.
And bad food was expensive.
That's right. That's what I meant to
Yeah.
say. Yeah, bad food expensive, good food cheap. You know what I mean? And you want to eat this, and this flavorful food that they created with all these fancy flavors and stuff like that.
It's cringy, like to go in the produce section at
It's crazy.
shop places, grocery stores. That's
yeah.
what they're called right now. It's like really, I'm like, how would a family, like a young family that's just kind of figuring it
$13
out?
cauliflower.
It's ridiculous.
$8 blueberries. Like, come on.
And it's just like you guys are being unreasonable. Like you're trying.
And unhelpful. Like,
Yeah.
we're your people.
So how do we?
So
We
how
got to
do
learn to deal with each other.
And we got to be able to, like, that's what this universe has to kind of correct itself. We have to correct course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this new generation, we have the most abundance of things, but we have the hardest life ever. Because back then there was other things that were going on, obviously like at other levels, but health wise, this is the first time we've seen our life expectancy to be shortened. I think this is the first time they've documented that our brains have shrunken. You know what I mean? For the first time ever, because you can track brain size by skull size. As the generations go by. You know what I mean? So our skulls have grown when we introduced the fats in our diets.
I think
EP, DHA.
not to be conspiracy theorist about it, but there are things positioned in this world that seem like the easiest answer, and it always seems to fuck you, or get you kind of like addicted to some matrixy box or something. So then I think what you're doing by existing as a health entity, as a store, it gives you a platform where you almost have a commitment to the truth, science without the dollar sign, and so it gives you as great opportunity to kind of guide people on how to kind of deke that out, I guess, right? Because
that.
as we were saying, like, the grocery stores just aren't really doing any favors. Also, the interesting thing about like vegetables and organics at grocery stores, like all these tomatoes, like exactly the same. This is not how tomatoes are. Like they're all different sizes. Strawberries that are this big. This is not a strawberry. This is like strawberries are this big.
When I was younger,
berries,
I used to,
not apples.
Oh yeah, I used to work on a farm, but when I was younger, like in my early teens, and I used to pick strawberries and blueberries and
They're
peaches
like
and
this
cherries,
big.
small and packed of flavor.
And they're so fucking
Peaches? Can
everything.
we talk about what happened to peaches?
No
gone.
flavor.
I used to live
Zero.
in
'Cause
BC.
they're-
The most delicious off the highway peaches.
Yes. Oh,
Oh
my
my
god.
God.
Sweet to the core.
Sweet, such a treat.
Satisfying.
You'd want it.
Now they're hard.
They're hard.
tasteless.
So hard now.
So you can if you just
But do you know why?
If you use your critical thinking, you can see like over time if you've been alive and conscious for more than 10 years.
And this is why I study this, because there's an answer to that too. You know what I mean? Because that happened.
Bottom dollar?
That because they're not taking their time with the soil.
Yeah.
See, microbes, like we talked about earlier, microbes have this
Right.
whole planet alive. It keeps this whole planet alive. These microbes are supposed to metabolize the soil. This is how life works on this planet.
Microbes got to be the name of the episode.
Microbes break down the soil so that the soil can be broken down to small minerals, just like your teeth. You're the bigger microbe on this universe. If you look, I told this Alana yesterday. I'm like, we're microbes on this planet. We're consumers. We're consuming. Under a microscope, you have so much climbing on you and in you that's living and keeping us alive. We're the microbes if you looked out of the universe. We're these little things that you can't see to the naked eye, and we're breaking stuff down and eating and consuming and rebirthing.
Moving it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how I see life. Because
Cycle of matter.
the whole life. Because rivers are the blood veins of this earth. The rivers. It brings water. Just like oxygen is delivered through your oxygen and makes things move. Everything is contracting and breathing.
It's breathing. That's what you learn on mushrooms when you look at the earth. It's
Yes.
like, this is breathing.
Yes. Everything's breathing. Everything's consuming. And everything's consuming to stay alive. And nothing wants to die. Everything wants life.
Oh, I love life.
And everything needs glucose to survive. Some sort of energy. Slight. You know what I mean? But we can create glucose from our own cells as well, right? From fat cells. That's why God is so good, how He developed us. You know what I mean? For real. And the real thing is, these microbes have to break down the soil so that the roots can actually absorb the soil into the plant.
They all need each other.
We all need each other.
We all need each other.
And we all need each other. So that soil has to be broken down by the microbes so that the mineral can be absorbed through the root so that the fruit and vegetable can have that. But how is it going to happen when we do corporate farming? They spray the chemicals. Those chemicals kill the bad microbes, but they kill the good microbes.
Yeah.
So there's nothing break.
Just
and then
like radiation for a cancer patient.
everything. And you kill all cells and everything. Now check this out. If you don't repopulate that soil, so back at the old school farming, they used to use the field and then they used to give that a break and they used to move over and then plant it here, move over, plant it here, and then come back here. And it used to be the cycle. Now they strip it. So now here's the cool part. I have a plant, and there was and it's about organic soil, and it apparently gets moldy very fast. And I realized I had to buy a new pot because the water was sitting and it got molded. And it was so cool because I was pouring water and the water wasn't going through the soil. The soil was dead. It was just dried. It had nothing in it. And then I had to change the soil, and I'm like, wow, that's alive. The fungus killed the microbes because the fungus wants to eat too. So the fungus eats the microbes. Everything has to be fed. You know what I mean? So this fungus absorbs the microbes. Soil dies. Now the water doesn't go through. The soil is dead. So if they plant shit back into the soil and has been properly reestablished, then we're going to have empty fruits and vegetables. And we're eating blanks.
What is,
They're forcing
do
it.
we have solutions for this problem?
Create more farmers, get rid of corporate farming. We have to take over. Humans have to start doing their own things. We're going back to how it used to be. Farms all over the place. All the farms back in Niagara where I grew up, because when we came to here, we settled in St. Catharines. All the farms are pretty much going away one by one. What's coming in? They're planting more neighborhoods. So if they get rid of them, now we're going to get stuff that's imported from other countries.
Ooh.
How is that even real? I'd rather eat frozen, organic, from another country, because how is that going to be even fresh when something dies within 7 days when it's picked off the stem?
Totally.
And what are they spraying it to keep it alive and keep it nice and pink and stuff? And why does it have no flavor? Why is the blue? How are you keeping that blue on it?
Why are we not talking about this?
Because it's like you're not allowed, or it will be due to the structure of media. You will never get this past someone who receives like corporate sponsorship.
The lobbies are too big.
You can't. The benefit from having people know this information, like one day we're gonna be assassinated. You know what I mean? Like this is.
Don't say that.
I'm just saying if
we're
we
not
are
going to be, but
I'm just kidding, but you know what I'm saying. You know, we're not going to.
I know.
But I'm saying this is basically forbidden knowledge. It's not really, but it's like it's nowhere, but it's so simple and it's right in front of us.
And it's almost like we're being gaslit a little bit. Like, no, fruit didn't always taste good. Like it was always just like bullshit like this.
It's a lie. Because when I went to Poland to see my grandma, I use this story forever. This is the one story I use over and over and over again. If we were on this side of the condo and my grandma was two rooms over, and my grandma was 2 rooms over cooking in the kitchen, the raw tomato and the raw cucumber you can smell from the other room, not even being cooked yet. You can just smell it. You can smell the cucumber. You can smell everything. But that's the same way if you grow your own stuff too. You'd be able. My parents grow a little bit in their backyard. Oh yeah, everything's different because they put fresh soil. That soil has minerals. Just like we have to change our soil because if the soil is dead, the plant doesn't grow. Very simple.
It is very simple.
So these farmers have to take manure and put it back in. That's why they should have compost and stuff like that. And that's the cycle of life.
I have a little compost right out there.
Yeah, but that's
I just throw shit.
And what's happening in that compost? Those microbes that are on those vegetables and on those things, they're eating that to break it down into soil. That's how beautiful this is, right? And then you put that back into the soil and you refertilize, and that's the cycle of life. It's kind of like when we go away, we come back. In a piece of you will come back in a different form, in a different piece of something else, but you're going to come back and your spirit lives on. But your physical self will come back in some kind of form because it has to. That's the recycling of yourself into everything. What you said with that rat, it died, it disintegrated, it got eaten alive, and it got the dust went into everywhere, and that will be consumed by a human because that will be up in the air. And that will be regurgitated something, and it will just come back somehow one day in life. It's incredible.
It is.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're all eating everything.
We're just trying.
And being eaten.
We're consumers.
Yeah.
We're consumers. Life on this planet is consumption, and it's survival, and that's how we have to look at it. You know what I mean? And it's like survival of the fittest, I guess. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so important to be like. My whole thing is when I was younger, I wanted to be not fat and obese because I grew up obese. So when I came to Canada, back to the other story, I know I jump around a lot, but I went from 7.
We were going to get back there.
7 to 10, I got fat. And then 10 to 20, I got obese. And then I ended up in the hospital at the age of 20 with irregular heartbeats. I was playing video games with my cousin and I got I was just sitting like this and I'm like, oh my God, I lost feeling of my everything. Just pause. It was the weirdest feeling ever. Like I couldn't feel my body. I couldn't move. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I just had a heart attack. And he's like, you're stupid. We're like 19, 20 years old. And he's like, oh, you're stupid. Like, you're fine. And then again, it happened at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I went to go knock on my uncle's door. And I said, please drive me to the hospital. And I was at Mississauga Hospital. And I went, I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I went there and then they tested me. They put all the whatever cables all up and hooked me up. And they said, no heart attack. But they said you had irregular heartbeats and you need to lose weight. So then that started my path. I actually went to school for, I had a scholarship for computer engineering. Did 1 year, I hated it. And then my parents were like, you have to go to school, do something. So then I was going to be like, okay, let's be a police officer. And then I was like, well, at least because computer engineering, I sat there in a chair all day and I just lost my way. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't sit here in one spot. I'm like, this is not me. It was getting anxious. So I'm like, what can I take that will make me move and will force me to be fit? So I'm like, police officer, cool. I'm like, I'm going to have to work out. I'm going to have to be active, like whatever. That makes a lot of sense. Right. And that's how kind of my brain went, graduated. But during that time, we had to take a course in police foundations every semester. And it was like a fitness course. And because you have to do, if you want to become a police officer, you have to run a course. And there's a machine that you squeeze through, and you have to have good pectoral muscles and strength. It's very hard. Like the regular person cannot take this. It's basically like a peg fly, but it's not. You walk up to it and you have to squeeze it, and then there's other things. You have to take a dummy and you have to do a whole course with it by dragging it, and you have to jump over a few walls. It's called the beep test as well. You have to do like a lot of running.
So they do want them to be slightly superhuman.
Yeah. Well, they're
to
like
start,
and then everybody, and then you pass, and then they don't keep that test up anymore. Yeah, because
which is so weird.
They should keep that bitch up. It'd be a fun little challenge.
It would if they knew that hey, or at least gave a bonus. Like if you can pass this test every year, you get an actual raise, or you'll be able to stay at this level, whatever, or you go backwards. Right now, you're gonna be just a traffic cop.
And I feel like people don't respect out of shape cops. Like, I feel like they're the ones that get in beefs more often because
they're more hormonal. Yeah, they have a regular imbalance, 100%. They're more estrogen dominant, 1,000%.
I don't want to be fat shaming, but it's tough to take someone who's out of shape seriously if they're mad, because I'm like, you just need to rest, or like you need some water or a cookie or something. Like, it's very tough because I know when I was out of shape, it sounds harsh, but it's like, Jesus, everything sucks. Everything is so fucking hard.
And you were young. You were both young.
Yeah.
And just like you really, nothing is fun.
Nothing is fun. And that's why I hate this whole movement that happened a bunch of years ago where they're like, love yourself. Doesn't matter what you look like. I'm like, you should love yourself regardless.
You should love
Skinny,
yourself.
fat,
And someone thinks you're hot,
Yeah.
like straight, like
Yeah.
you're still can be sexy. Like that is true.
Whatever race you are, love yourself. We're all God's children. Doesn't matter what religion you are, it's still God. And depending on what religion you are, just because that's the channel you were born into, who cares? But we're all the same, technically. You know what I mean? But the message that they're telling people, oh, you should still be happy. I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna tell me to be happy when I can't even I have to put on 3 shirts to hide my titties, like, and I wear size pants 40, and I can't even I can't even breathe after a couple steps. And I can't even jump over a fence. How are you supposed to be happy with that? That's the whole what you're talking about. That's what I never agreed with that message, because then you're telling the people that's okay to be like that, and I'm like, okay, then in 10 years you're gonna have type 2 diabetes, you're gonna have Alzheimer's, because that's type 3 diabetes now they're deeming it's insulin resistance,
And they sell sugar everywhere.
Yeah,
they
sugar and
sell
everything.
sugar everywhere.
And it's so delicious.
yeah.
Oh, and it's so
It's addicting.
alluring, and it helps you escape. They're literally Kit Kat markets to you to escape. Take a break with us.
Yes.
This is an excuse to eat.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you hear about the study about rats
No.
about sugar and cocaine?
Sugar's
no.
more addictive. They'll choose
Yeah,
sugar over
yeah.
cocaine.
They put rats, they fed them coke, and they fed them a sugar, and then, separate times, and then they put both in at the same time, and every single rat went after the sugar first. Yeah, they went after sugar over cocaine.
I feel that way about sugar.
It's
I
on
get in
airplanes.
cycles. You know how you were saying, like, when you reintroduce some things that you're not doing right
Yeah.
now back into your life, you want to make sure that you don't fall back into
That's
that
right.
trap. I'm like that with sugar. Like, I've always had that, like, cyclical sort of, like, I stop it and I'm pretty good for a while, and then I'll reintroduce a little, and then that little will become more, and then all of a sudden I have a fucking yeast infection because I've had too much sugar.
yeah, that's overgrowth, and the yeast lives on sugar.
Yeah.
That's what kombucha is. Yeah, it eats the sugar and it becomes kombucha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The microbes that we have in our bodies, and everybody has yeast in them, but there's a yeast overgrowth that's just called candida. And that is a sugar over toxic load, and your body's microbes are just like feeding. And that's what cancer needs sugar to survive as well. That's what they don't tell you. You know what I mean?
But
So-
they serve sugar in the hospitals.
I know it's fucked up.
They serve sugar
up.
on airplanes
Everywhere.
and
It's
you're
the-
not
Because it
allowed.
makes people think they feel better.
and
No,
and it's
this
just
is part of the power structure, and there's the same
it's-
100 families ruling the world, and
something like that. 100. He's right. You know what I mean? And
I'm gonna
100%.
go conspiracy theory. It's the easiest way to keep people's emotions fluctuating and to instill polarization. How are you gonna get a bunch of people to fight? Sugar crashes, sugar hypes. Put some fear in front of them and boost them up with sugar everywhere.
Another study on rats. They trained a rat. They put it in a pool of water, and they trained the water. They had a platform in the pool of water, and the rat was taught within a couple hours how to rescue itself. That the platform, if he jumped on top of the platform, it was okay. Then, believe it or not, that same rat, the very next study, which is like, I don't know if I can't remember off by heart, but it was like a day after or like whatever that same week, they fed it a bunch of sugar and then put it in water. Do you know that rat couldn't find itself back onto the platform? It kept swimming in circles.
Because you're just like, oh, I'm gonna fucking, it's like crack. It's a good sugar high. I'm just gonna keep going around. I can't take a second to look.
He nailed it. You can't concentrate.
Like, I can't see.
And if you can't concentrate and you can't focus on anything, what are you going to have? ADHD. You create mental problems for people. So then
they're gonna virtue signal it and catch them on the other side and be like, it's okay, you're just a little bit broken. This is a disease. It's ADHD.
and
Come with me.
they prescribe you.
And
it's the
your
big.
parents have been addicted to pop since
Yes.
before you were born.
It's the biggest hoax ever, and it's the biggest legal drug. Sugar should be dismantled.
Take these pills. It will
Yes.
help with your focus on ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
Destroy your liver for us.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Does sugar from fruits act in a similar way that processed sugar does?
All sugar is sugar. Your body doesn't know the difference, just like
Okay.
light is light. But there is a difference. It comes with antioxidants and it comes with fiber. So it slows the digestion of the sugar down into your bloodstream. And that's why there's a massive spike and a massive crash.
That's like terpenes in natural weed as opposed to smoking hardcore distillate.
Right.
That's just like, it is like, this is like
So
slow drip.
drinking a glass of apple juice is not the same as eating an apple.
Yes.
That apple juice was from 5 apples.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that apple has fiber. I bet you can't eat 5 apples in a row.
Yeah.
You'd be satisfied. But you can drink 2-3 glasses of juice, no problem. And now you're going to get dopamine hit, and then you have that crash, and now you want more sugar until you get it.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is, at the same time, is you're messing up your pancreas. Your pancreas is responsible for releasing insulin, and your pancreas releases insulin when we eat all food. And that organ wants a break as well. That's why fasting is so great. That's why if you can compress your eating into an 8-hour feeding window a day, your organs want to take a break too. They don't want to be. They were never meant. This whole.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I keep these guys going.
Oh yeah, and you know what's crazy? It ages us. You know what I mean? And that's how we age faster, because it's like our organs were never meant to be functioning every day. And this whole theory where people say like eat these smaller amounts of meals a day and it keeps your metabolism going, that's all fake.
No, you know what? Honestly,
that's all bullshit.
I usually don't eat till fucking 3.
Yeah, that's great.
But then
But you are
eat
eating
until midnight.
But you are eating.
I'm eating what's there.
Endogenous, meaning internally.
And that's what I feel like when I wake up. I'm like, no,
But Whitney's right too.
I never eat breakfast. I have a cappuccino and a water. And that's
but breakfast just means breaking fast. That's where that came from. Breakfast. So you can break fast at 12 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That's still your breakfast. At 3 o'clock, you're breaking the fast. But you're right. When I met Alana, she was eating her biggest meal. I used to be this guy too. I used to not eat until 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I fast all day, but I would undo all the good work by eating all in the compressed feeding window at the end of the night, because you're actually disrupting everything in your whole system. She clocks her sleep because she has a watch on, and she checks her sleep, and she was getting only about 37 minutes of sleep, deep sleep at night when I met her. She's up to 2 hours now with deep sleep at night, and she sleeps all the way through the night most nights.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she gets a lot of good sleep. And now she's sleeping in one night what she did in 3 nights. And that is when your body releases growth hormone. That's how you age slower. You know what I mean? Because your body has to regenerate itself. But how can it regenerate itself when it's always digesting food? And that's why fasting releases growth hormone, because it's muscle sparing. Your body doesn't want to die. So how did we survive back in the day when you're a hunter and you didn't have food for several days? Or maybe even if whatever. You would hunt, you would get a meal, you would load up, and then your body goes into autophagy. When you don't have food, it's programmed cell death, which usually happens after like 16 to 18 hours. It goes in after old decrepit cells that don't belong in there, because your body has to be light on the feet to find the next hunt. So it goes in and kills the old cells that don't belong, and it feeds you. It eats even dead protein cells, which could be skin. That's why I wore size pants 40. I do have a little bit loose skin still, because that's the same thing for a pregnant woman. I say, like, the longer your stomach is out there, the longer the skin will get stretched out, and it's hard to pull back, but you can pull it back. And fasting was one of the big keys where I pulled a lot of my skin back. Because if I would fast for several days, my body still wanted to survive, and it'll start eating itself, not the muscle, because it's muscle sparing. Your body's not stupid. It goes after white fat first, as long as you're not demanding it for a lot of energy.
Oh, really? I heard the opposite. I'm so glad that it does that. I've always kind of felt like that.
Now, if you're sprinting and you're demanding a lot of energy, your body has, I believe, up to 20 minutes of storage of glucose in your glycogen stores. That's where you store energy in your cells. And that when that is dumped, your body actually will use the sugar in your liver first, because that's why fatty liver, going back to the fruit as well. The fruit gets broken down into 2 things, 2 sugars, fructose and glucose. Fructose has to go back through your liver to get converted into glucose, and your body will use the glucose that's available right away from the fruit that you eat. That's just answering the other question I forgot to answer.
So glucose is what the body actually...
It is the energy that we kind of run on, you know what I mean? But your body prefers... It is, and your body prefers ketones. Your brain loves ketones.
What's
you know what
ketones?
I mean? Ketones is something that when you run out of sugar from your bloodstream and you don't have any more storage in your liver, your body's not stupid. It needs to survive. So your liver starts to produce ketones, and ketones to convert fatty lipids into glucose for your brain. So that's how you transport ketones to your fat to your brain. And your brain is 60% fat, and it needs EPA, DHA, it needs healthy fats. And that's when we started hunting, when we started eating more animal products. That's when our brains, I believe, grew a little bit.
I feel so good in the brain when I do have fatty foods.
You need fats. Fat covers every single cell of your body almost. And without fat, the cholesterol lie bullshit where people are like cholesterol is bad for you. Your liver needs about 2 grams of cholesterol a day to produce hormones. You cannot produce testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, and none of your chemicals. You can't even produce vitamin D needs cholesterol. Your melatonin needs cholesterol. Every single hormone in your body needs cholesterol. And if you don't consume the healthy cholesterol, then your body liver is taxed to produce the cholesterol.
What are some good foods that you can get cholesterol in?
Eggs, healthy fish, you know what I mean? Like just healthy foods, you know what I mean? Animal products that were grass-fed, wild caught.
How do you prepare and enjoy your eggs best?
Alana has me on, which I love recently. She has these silicone little things, and she just air fries them for me, and I put nutritional yeast on top, and it becomes 4 eggs, and they come in as a little dish, like they come out
so
like that,
cute.
and I enjoy them every day. I love them. She's so good. She's
them.
vegan, and she makes the best food. She cooks for me. She's amazing.
I love a little nutritional yeast.
Yes, and that's the good stuff, right? But again, if someone has a yeast overgrowth, we should probably avoid that for a little while, and we should even avoid anything that's fungus, so mushrooms as well, because that will feed the fungus in the body. It's a fungus overgrowth.
Maybe that's why I've never liked mushrooms. Maybe I've always just had like an on the more side of
Over-yeasty.
yeast, because I'm Dutch and we eat so much bread and cheese.
Yeah, and that would be good back home, but here we do the cheese and the things differently. It's a whole different structure, and that's like if the animal ate grass, it produces A2 type of milk. That's what we all our families grew up on, our grandparents and our parents. And if that's going back to the other feeding the animal the wrong diet. If the animal eats and nothing but grass and things that are from nature, it will produce A1 type of milk, and that's all this shit that we find today. So pay attention next time you're at a grocery store and you see A2 milk. That's the original milk, just like the ancient seeds, like the buckwheat and the amaranth. Now everything that we have is fake. And that's why when we eat bread here, everybody's inflamed and the gluten is bad. But gluten was never bad. It's just the way we processed it. We genetically modified everything, and we've changed the structure. And then your microbes don't understand what's going on, and your body says, "What the hell is this?" And now you're inflamed.
Is there any?
I can feel this shit, but he can
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
it. Damn.
Is there any world or reality in which our bodies somehow adapt to the modifications we've made in our
It does,
food?
but not in our time.
Okay.
From all the research I've done, it takes time. Think about how fast everything has moved, even from technology. Even from the 1990s, everything was corded. Nothing. EMFs were not even a thing that much. Everything was corded. We had corded phones, corded everything. We had corded internet. Now everything's flying. All these waves are flying.
Yeah.
We're getting EMF the fuck up. Yeah. And they're frying us. We're in a microwave. They're frying our mitochondria, and that's why people are so tired and anxious. And because we're drained of our energy. Not only are we not getting fed the right diet, we're just that energy is being sucked out of us. Look how much energy we give to a cell phone.
Holy fuck, that's gonna be a clip for sure.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's where and all this is flooding my brain. It's like, everybody always comes into the stories like, you need a YouTube channel and all this stuff. I'm like, maybe I do.
We're
You know what I
starting you here.
mean? And it's one of those things where I just want to share as much as I want. And that question, going back earlier, because I remember what you said, it's because when I was growing up and I was obese and everybody just told me go work out more and whatever, and then I couldn't get fixed, I thought I was broken. So imagine growing up, a teen, always got picked on, bullied and all that crap, and never got a girlfriend, any of that kind of stuff. I was severely obese to the point where, like I told you, I used to, I don't mind sharing here, I used to wrap myself in saran wrap because I had such big boobs. My boobies came out to here, and one was uneven than the other. How they grow uneven sometimes. And I used to wrap myself with saran wrap, and even in my gut. And that didn't work because you get sweaty very quickly and it slides. So that didn't work. I used to wear 3 shirts. No one even knew in high school. I used to wear 3 shirts specifically, and I used to wear a small shirt to tuck myself in, almost like a man bra, almost like a wife beater, but super tight.
Women call that Spanx.
Okay, so yeah. So I used to
use Spanx to tuck everything in.
So I used to do that, you know what I mean? And it's like no one could fix me. So my passion came from literally from being like a guinea pig on trying everything. Paleo diet, keto diets,
And
fasting.
you started that after these heart palpitations?
Yes, at the age of 20. I lost the weight the wrong way the first time. I did a lot of cardio. But what I did right is intuitively. Intuitively, thank you. English is my third language.
That's amazing.
It's really good.
So what's it called? I knew that this is what I did to lose the weight. I got rid of anything that was processed. I only drank water. I drank no juice, no teas, no coffees, no nothing. I ate nothing that was white. I discarded it. So basically all pizzas, bread, ice cream, all dairy was gone.
Wow.
Cheeses gone. Everything gone. But you look great, so you don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Candies, artificial colors, dyes, gone. You know what I ate? I ate fish, eggs, meats, vegetables, dark leafy greens. That's all I ate. 80 pounds in 6 months. Gone. And I was like, whoa. And I was covered in acne everywhere. I used to always covered in acne all my whole face.
You could not even think that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, covered in acne. I probably have scars of a couple places, but I had so much acne on my face that it was ridiculous. And I always had to, like, you know, you buy all the oxy pads, all the acne
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Did you ever try Accutane?
I didn't. I was very close. I tried everything under the sun, and it's like you kill one, but then the question is, why is it coming back? No one tells you this shit, and this is the problem. What you said,
Hormones.
well, hormones, but this is the esoteric version of this. Is we're being manipulated to living a certain type of way without the right information, and then we're being manipulated with a financial part of it because they're giving you the solution, but the solution is never the prevention. It's just the bandage. You know what I mean? The Band-Aid. And the Band-Aid is just like, yeah, you have a piece of acne, let me get rid of this one, but you're gonna have 5 other ones that come out. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's where, like, and then I'm not saying, you know, acne, it comes from like sugar, which it does, and dairy and all that kind of stuff, because some people can handle it, they get nothing, but your body will speak a beautiful language to you. And you have to listen. And, you know, that's why you cannot say, you know, calorie counting or this diet or that diet is good for anybody. You do what you do works for you, but you have to learn the basics about what we talked about, digestion.
Yeah.
Not to eat before going to bed, because your body, when now that it's dark outside, obviously we're stimulated with the light here, so it's not producing melatonin, but you need sunlight, sunny D, to produce melatonin, and you need darkness because your body triggers, it secretes your melatonin, and it suppresses your testosterone at the end of the night because it doesn't want to be active. That's why your testosterone is the highest in the mornings. And women too as well. That's why you build muscle the best in the mornings.
That's why I get horny in the mornings.
Yeah, you wake up with the woody. No, 100%. So the dawn phenomenon theory kicks in, and that's how every human and every animal gets woken up. So when light touches your skin, that signals your body to wake up. Your body has to jolt a little cortisol, and then you dump a little glycogen that you stored in your muscles as glycogen, the glucose. And
energy.
It gives you the energy. So everybody actually technically breaks their fast every single morning because that's how every human has to wake up. So you get a light signal. Blinds are open. You wake up every morning towards the light. Always. If you were sleeping if you was dead asleep in a blacked out room and you came with a little light, a little laser pointer, and you pointed a little light at the back of his legs, he would wake up in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, because your skin is your biggest organ, one of your biggest organs. I think fascia is your second biggest, or they're tied. Fascia and the skin are the 2 biggest organs on your body.
He remembers fascia.
Yeah, and so it's like collagen keeps you glued together, and that's why your fascia, that's why 70% of your body is glued together by all this stuff, and that's why it's important too as well to eat a proper diet. We can get into that later, but you know what I mean, that's the dominant theory, and that's how your body wakes up. So going back to that, your stomach acid is the strongest your first meal of the day. That's why you eat like a king. Then your next meal is like a queen, and then you eat like a poor man, a pauper, a peasant. Because your stomach acid is weak. You don't want to be feeding your body all the energy at the end of the night when your body needs to slow down, and your organs want to go to bed too. Why are you making them work? 60% of your blood will be stuck in your stomach when you eat food, because that's part of the digestion part. And now to go to sleep, why are you trapping blood in your gut? You're going to have undigested food through the whole night. You might digest 20-30% of food overnight. And now you're not fasting in the morning. You're waking up with food still stuck in your gut. So you think you're fasting. So then the person that fasts, at least they're fasting till 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. They did themselves a favor. But imagine the person that wakes up and eats right away in the morning. You still have undigested food from last night. And I promise you had a shitty sleep. Because how are you going to go to bed properly and go into your delta sleep waves when you're metabolically challenged, when your body's thermogenic, when you just ate meat and you're digesting food? And now you trapped 60% of your blood in your gut. And how is your liver and your spleen going to clean the blood overnight when you've trapped it in the stomach and it's trying to be digested? And now you're waking up with a wet shirt. You're feeling tired. You're sweaty. You might even wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom because you have to dilute the sugar that's in your bloodstream from the food that you ate.
He's just been talking about me for the past 3 months.
I feel like we're being called out hard.
I feel attacked. I love it so much.
I love you
and
so much. I got goosebumps right now. You see that?
You're like, that's what I'm saying. You channel and you feel and you navigate. You almost Abraham Hicks it, but from a health perspective of science. And this is exactly what I've been feeling and going through. Like, I take my shirt off halfway through the night because I'm soaked when I wake up to pee.
Yeah. And,
okay, how many hours is
4
safe?
hours.
Before going to bed.
Yeah.
That's so reasonable.
It is. We should stop eating by 5 or 6. And here's the other part.
But we did order Dairy Queen Blizzards the other night and passed out on the couch.
Yeah, and you had a horrible sleep.
Oh.
It was, and I felt like shit.
Yeah, I felt like shit.
I had 2 sleeps in one night, and they were both weird, and I woke up with anxiety, And
Yeah.
I've been caught in this weird energetic daze, kind of processing emotion. And the way I've been treating my body with nutrients has not been helping.
No, because your hormones are not being replenished. You're not getting dopamine. You're not getting serotonin. You're not, your hormones are being depleted, and then you're waking up struggling, and that's when they medicate you because you don't know what's going on. I promise you can correct all your sleep and all your problems go away. You know what I mean? And you can. And so,
He's like, yeah, I want to get some
Yeah.
nutrients too. I got a horn.
and that's the whole thing about like our bodies. Like, how can we live a good life when we don't even understand how it works? And then you're kind of like, you go to the gym like you're going to, right? You go to the gym and you always come in and be like, I want to get like that. I'm like, yeah, but there's so much more. And you know why it's difficult today? Because we fucked this planet up. And we fucked up this whole structure up. Back then there was candles. There wasn't bright lights. There wasn't cell phones. And if you watch TV from a distance, it was a great TV, and there was one TV in the house usually. And you watched it from a distance possibly. You know what I mean? And it was just a different vibe. And now it's like we're like laying there. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you close your eyes. No, you don't even go to sleep yet. You still have to now go through the cycle. So now your first 2-3 hours are wasted before you reach that sleep. And your sleep goes through about 2 or 3 cycles a night if you can achieve that. And it goes through about 5 stages. Stage 1 is just like you're just dropping in, and then your body's preparing itself to sleep. That's when, like, if you close your eyes and you hear a noise, you wake right up. Stage 2, your body's actually dropping your temperature down by 2 degrees if you allow it to by not eating before going to bed. Your body takes it drops 2 degrees. Stage 3, you kind of enter that deep sleep. Stage 4, you continue it, and then stage 5 is REM sleep. So at the end of your sleep cycle, at the end of the night, that's when you get your dreams. At the beginning of your sleep, which is the most important sleep, between 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, that's where your body takes all the information that you've had today. And if you go to bed at the right time today, your body will take everything that you learned and will line it up like a file for you so that you can remember it tomorrow. And if you don't follow that process, you won't remember it. And that's why a lot of people have bad memories, because they don't respect the sleep cycle. And then at the end of the night, that's where you remember all your dreams. At the end of the night is you sleep, and you're not. So at the beginning of your sleep cycle, which is the strongest, you achieve the most of your programming of everything that you've learned. And as you move through the sleep cycle, at the end of it, you lose that part of it. You still get a little bit of it. Your body still works that way, but then you start to remember of your sleeps because it makes sense. Your body now is winding out itself out of sleep, and it's preparing you to wake up to the dawn phenomenon theory, where you have to wake up. And that's the circle of life, and that's the circle of sleep. That's called the circadian rhythm. We don't change that. We're on the Earth's clock. You know what I mean? Things change. So during the summertime, you can kind of extend your feeding window to about 7 o'clock because it's daylight a little longer. Here's the other part that I learned actually yesterday. It makes sense. So when your
I'm just having my mind
when your
blown.
body starts to produce melatonin, which if you had red lights at the end of the night, red lights are good. It's like your eyes pick up light, read light. So just like a sunset is orange and red, your eyes like red and orange to set you down to go to bed. Just like bright lights are good during the day, the blue light is good to keep us awake and keep going. That's what light from the sky is coming. It's blue light. Different from technology, but it's the same concept, and it keeps us awake. It gives us energy. So wearing sunglasses throughout the day is a bad idea. You know what I mean? Wear it for a little bit, but you should always get a real light. It'll give you energy. Yes. And then recharge you for the sunny D so you can produce more melatonin. And when that melatonin is present, your body's digestion doesn't work that well. And that also makes sense why you shouldn't eat at nighttime. That was the other part I just learned today, or yesterday. That when melatonin is present, your digestion sucks. And that's why you have a lot of indigestion, a lot of bloating. So that's why it's so important to eat earlier in the day and then prepare your body to go to bed. And now what you just did is you just unfucked yourself and you hacked the system. You pretty much just hacked your body and this new environment that they built for us. That's not here to favor us. It's here to make us weaker, the esoteric version of it. And then they're here to medicate us. And then we're trapped in the rat race because the people know about frequencies and energy and, you know, all the hertzes and stuff like that. And they know about how food works. And they know if we mess up sleep cycles, and that's why a lot of people can't get into the next level of life. You know what I mean? And that whole spiritual part of it, because they're just not aware. They're just struggling to get through the day because they have no energy and they have no awareness.
Fuck.
And that's
my God, that's such a perfect way to say it.
Yeah, because they can't vibe on that level. Because how can you live on that level when you just can't wake up and have energy that day because you're just struggling because you didn't sleep well? And how is your brain working when you have so much cortisol and stress and you're just like sugar hungry and then you're feeding the beast?
Where do we start? Because I'm feeling called out and I'm feeling like, wow, I really want to make a change, like starting today.
Yeah.
But like, trying to implement all of
It's
the
hard.
tips that you've said today is like just not going to happen. I just won't do it.
That's
like
the-
I'll eat sugar before I'll
Yeah.
even look at it.
That's the beautiful part. We start summer. So it's like the first part is like if you're having trouble eating it late at night, start eating your biggest meal first of the day. And then at the end of the night, go on Amazon, buy your red light bulbs. I see you got fancy lights everywhere.
I make it
We
red
can
at
do
night.
these
Yeah,
red.
everything
Yeah.
everything goes red. So you already got that part. So next part,
love that.
So the next part of the correction is for the sleep part of it is here's a couple good things, right? So before sleep, you guys do meditation. You love each other. You get rid of all the technology an hour, 2 hours before. You set yourself up for today. Prepare your stuff that's ready for tomorrow. You know what I mean? And that way you kind of prep yourself. You know what I mean? Read a book. You know, get on that cycle.
A night routine is definitely something we could work on.
Go for a walk. Go for a 30-minute walk.
We've been dropping the night routine.
We've been taking in the content.
Yes. And you know, I'll promise you that if you're trying to do work late at night, you're actually underselling yourself because you're underperforming late at night. Your body's trying to go to bed. Wake up at 5 a.m. and do the work. You outpace yourself 3x. You just literally jump 3 levels ahead of yourself. You get work done faster like that.
I love
Yeah.
that. You are divine masculine. You're actually a balance of both. But
Thank you.
Yeah.
bro. I love you guys so
that-
much.
You too,
Love
brother.
you.
Holy
Because
shit,
I feel
man.
the respect from you because that's
Wow.
there's a lot of people out there that like they think this is like voodoo shit. I'm like no. Let's just take science and biology. I'm like don't talk to me about calorie counting and all that bullshit. I'll tell you how the body works, and until you can prove me wrong, then let's talk about it. You mean because like all the stuff that I'm saying, there's an actual process to it. You know, how can you tell someone that, you know, the whole plant is not covered in microbes? How can you tell me that, you know, you will not wash your acid away if you dilute it with water and then you can't absorb the minerals and vitamins? How are those microbes later than your intestines going to absorb the minerals and vitamins if your acid hasn't broken down? So are you just eating to eat, or are you eating to actually absorb the minerals from the food that you spent your money on?
So do you do protein shakes?
I do protein shakes. I do a food shake every day. That goes. I do because a lot of people think protein is just post workout. I'm like, no. I'm like, it offsets costs. I'm like, I take protein. I do beef. So I do beef protein from collagen. That's the only red meat kind of eat consume right now, unless I go to like a restaurant or something. Because I'm eating more vegetarian. But the beef has all the amino acids that I need. It comes from collagen. I want to glue my body back together, so give me it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna come and you're gonna show me.
Yeah,
which
it's
one.
from bone broth and grass-fed collagen, right? So it's like our ancestors, our parents, they used to make. I used to think my parents were cheap, but they were because those were the times. So you would use an animal, take the bones, you would simmer them in water, extract the type 2 collagen from the bones.
Oh,
then-
everything.
then
Use that whole fucking
organs, everything, and you made soup out of it. But what you were doing is you're an animal too. So that animal is feeding the next animal. You know what I mean? And that's why like Alana was vegan, but she was losing her hair when I first met her. And I'm like, you're eating healthy, but you're exercising. You're putting your body through so much. You're stripping all your minerals and all your structure, and you're not putting anything back to rebuild it. So your wrist, she always had a wrist brace. I don't know if you remember her wearing a wrist brace to yoga.
Oh yeah, how we've all interconnected. That's hilarious.
I
too.
loved it when she knew you guys. I loved it, and I wish she could be here today. But what's it called? Wrist was hurting, hair was falling out, and I'm like, just listen. She was crying, and I fell for her. I said, I would buy a wig with you, and I'll shave my head. I'll wear a wig with you. She doesn't mind me sharing the story.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. But I'm like, but I said, but give me 30 days. I'm like, but you have to stop being vegan. Stay vegan. Don't eat any animals. But listen to me. Collagen, copper, zinc. I remineralized the shit out of her body. Because I'm like, yes, but you have to understand plants are good, but you would have to eat a lot of vegetables every day to sustain every single mineral and vitamin that your body requires if you want to go at this pace. Now, if you're sitting on a couch and doing nothing, cool. You're okay. If you're feeling like you're mediocre, cool. But you're a high performer. You're a runner. You're a yoga teacher. Well, she's going to get into yoga teaching hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Yoga. This girl, Orange Theory, wants to run, does marathons. I'm like,
Works out with you. I see you working out.
yeah, works out with me and stuff. And I'm like, you need more food. I'm
Yeah.
like, your body demands it. All of a sudden, 30 days in, I love it. Baby hair now this big. Now she showed me she's so proud. She's got hair like this much that grew back. She had patches of no hair. Wow. And all of a sudden one day I called her up. We've been over a year now together, but this is a cool story I would like to share. Now we're like 3 months into our relationship. I'm like, have you noticed that you haven't complained about your wrist? And she hasn't put her wrist thing on. She goes, well, it kind of still hurts. I'm like, no. I used to pass her a cup and she'd be like, it hurts. because the infrastructure is not there. So I'm like, so here's some collagen. Here, take omega-3s because she's not eating any fish. Your brain wants fat. It wants EPA, DHA. That's why our brains are shrinking because everybody's eating the wrong diet. You need healthy fats. You know what I mean? So if you don't feed the brain if the brain doesn't get the demand of food that it wants, it shrinks. Just like if the muscle doesn't get the protein, it shrinks. Everything is here to grow and to get smaller and bigger. Consumers, right? Your body needs these things. You know what I mean? And then, so basically it's like, boom. She like remineralized her body. Everything started fixing itself. I mean, so where do we start?
You're like Jesus.
You know,
come my child.
I love helping. And that's funny. Alana did a video and she's like, why do you do this? I'm like, I just love people and I love helping people. Because if you help everybody else, you're helping yourself too as well emotionally. And that's how life used to be. You know what I mean? When we help each other, we spread the love in the universe and it comes back. That's what people don't understand. And that's God's teachings, right? Treat everybody else like you want to be treated. That he's giving you the answer. Treat people with respect because they're going to treat you back. But that treating of other people and animals and everything they feel it. Animals a perfect example because they feel good energy or they don't feel good energy.
He's feeling you now, Ralphie.
I love them. I love dogs. I love animals.
He's always felt so welcome
he's like,
in your shop.
can I have some of this love that's being brewed in this
dude
sesh?
It's so special.
So tell us about your store and where people can find you.
And the journey you went through a fitness studio and now you're back in City Place and you have your own space, bigger, brighter than ever.
So we're back in City Place, downtown Toronto, back from the street of the original location where we met us. That's almost like that 360 that we did, like full circle. Love it. Got to create. So that's where like the other part of it, you know, that thing happened where it's like I lost my other business and how did I pivot? You know what I mean? It's like that thing in life where it's like, do you give up or do you keep going? So if that never happened, I would never create a Lift the City. That's the logo.
So sick. Your merch is dope.
I appreciate you. I can't wait to release the hats and everything that's coming. So like, you know, with that coming, like, you know, God basically said, okay, I taught you as much as you needed to learn here. And now this is the next journey. Are you ready for it? And I said, yes. You know what I mean? And that's where like I created Lift the City. That's where I met Alana. Because if it wasn't for that, I've never met her. I actually would have been gone from Toronto. The original plan was to create liftthecitysupplements.com as a platform, online platform, and I was just going to shoot videos from a garage and pretty much just create content every day. And it would have been a different story today, and I would have been gone. But I'm back. I got to stay here, and it was the right decision. Right. And it's like that journey that we go through. You know what I mean? Where City Place is a beautiful place, and I don't know, like maybe I need to do something bigger. You know what I mean? Where like in the future I would like to have a center where I want to have I want to have a platform where I can speak in front of 50 to 100 people, where we can do this for lots of people. You're a guy. Where we can help as many people as possible, because I love coaching one-on-one, but it's only so much you can do one-on-one, and online is so saturated with all these health gurus. I have a different kind of approach. Because I lived the life and I understand it a little bit differently. But I love the doctors that are out there and all the biohackers that are actually doing the actual tests and doing all the biomarkers of all these things.
Do you work with people one-on-one right now?
I do, yeah. I do. But recently I just kind of scaled it back just because we had to move to this new location, downtown Toronto. Let's plug it in, City Place.
Shout out.
54 York Boulevard. Let's go, baby. Boom, let's go. So that location is fantastic because I just got to return back to one of the funnest neighborhoods ever, closer to you guys too. Yeah. And it's just nice to be in the downtown Toronto area and to say this brand was built in downtown Toronto, because every other brand that's out there, they're all from different cities. This is the first I want to make it into like a mainstream, but this kind of love brand that was actually birthed in here down the street from the CN Tower.
It's a TO brand for sure.
Saint it.
It's a household TO name.
I love it so much. And I got to meet so many cool people down here.
You are a legend in these streets. So many people are like, Arty's my guy. And it's like, yes. But he's like, and we all talk about how passionate you are. It's so good. You're such a good token in the city, man. Like
you guys too. You know, a lot of people love you guys. Your energy is unreal. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's why we all vibe together in this way, too. Yeah. Because, like, you know, this didn't ever had to happen, but it had to happen. Because every time we've talked, and we need to as well, you can feel it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can feel it. And you guys have it, too, as well. Because you guys bring love to people, too, in a different kind of way. And that's why we're all soldiers of God, you know what I mean? Where he's looking for strong people to make this universe better. Because we're in one of the biggest biggest battles right now, I believe.
Cosmic wars.
Cosmic spiritual wars, you know what I mean, where the two sides are kind of meeting right now and battling it out, and that's where, like, you know, you want to look at it from every kind of perspective. Poison people with the food, mental state, all these things. And then there's the other side, people that are the gifts from God, where we're trying to unplug people, everybody. And you know, he always picks troubled people.
Yeah.
You look at all the people in the Bible, right? Everybody had a past. He picks them because he puts them through tests and he sees how they respond. You know, that's where kind of I figured all this out, because I love to be spiritual too. You know what I mean? Because it saved my ass. You know what I mean? I wasn't ever like this before. I used to hate going to church, and I still don't go to church because I connect differently. You know what I mean? But I pray every day. You know what I mean? And I believe in his, if it wasn't for Jesus and God, like I would be so lost. You know what I mean? Things just change when you tell him that I'm ready, and he will open every single door for you. You just have to be ready for it.
That's so beautiful.
And there's too many bad energies out there. You know, I don't even want to say the word, but the S starts with an S. And the demonic shit that's going on out there. And you can see it in all the videos these days, all the songs, all the food. It's all under the same umbrella. That why is the food being? Why are the people that are in charge of this even allowing a lot of these chemicals to pass through?
The stimulus, it's the stimuli.
Yes.
It's like they're training a certain frequency. You're training people to exist in a certain frequency, and how you fuel them and what you give them to focus on.
We're moving into a new era where it's going to be manipulated by AI and machines, and it's like that whole thing where we always see it's like they're trying to depopulate and everything else. So it's like, if that's true and they're becoming with AI and machines are taking over, I'm like, it's kind of like almost like why is this even happening? All the stuff that we grew up on in movies and stuff, it's all coming true. You know what I mean? All the prophecies.
How do you think it was foreshadowed, and
exactly
what movies were allowed to be that
programming
big?
And who owns Hollywood, and what are the families, and what are the bloodlines, and how this is kind of like.
Do you know every president dates back on the family tree to King James?
I didn't know that.
So like, you can't separate church and state whatsoever. Even Obama, even Lincoln.
Oh yeah, it's all like, you know, are we living in a simulation? You know what I mean? And it's like,
it for sure is a self-reality simulation by what you attract and where you vibrate.
100%. But the question is it structured in a kind of way that we're almost pre-programmed for the future? Because like, do we have, like what you said, how do we change? You know, we have so many people, like the stuff that I talk about, I'm like, you'd be surprised how many people don't know any of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, I kind of got put on the journey because I was just, like I said earlier, no one could help me.
It seems pretty obvious to get in touch with this thing. Skipping past this thing or neglecting the vehicle you're in is far too common and a strange choice. It's like, you have to look down and listen. And then when you have done all this work to understand how to explain it and what's happening, and like connecting your digestion and your being with the energies of the universe, that is such a delight that you can bring that to light in such a knowledgeable way.
It's your life force.
How did you how did you acquire this level of, I know it's awareness, like I see your patterns were similar in the way that I think that like we just end up asking the right questions that lead us somewhere, like a rabbit hole. But you're very informed on a physical, scientific level. How did you acquire this education?
So at first, I going through from 20 to 28, that guinea pig project, I said I just tried everything under the sun without knowing the backing of it, the science.
Are you YouTubing? Are you Googling?
At this point, so from 20 to 28, I kind of freestyled, and it was just what I heard. It was more back then, it was magazines, you know what I mean? And kind of trying to feel like what the bodybuilders were doing, but that never worked. It was all not proper. You know what I mean? Then you would start reading a couple of things, but it was not as it is today.
It was not proper in the way that they were doing things to their body just for like results, as opposed to holistic health.
You can't really tell. An overweight person that's broken doesn't work the same as a person that's never been fat. So a bodybuilder usually, like, that has a perfect complexion, they usually start out very skinny and then they got jacked. Very rare. I don't see any stories of someone being very obese and then became into a professional bodybuilder or kind of into the fitness scene. I haven't seen it much.
That's crazy.
Because like you can't tell someone sugar and carbs are good when they're obese and they have insulin resistance, and this jack motherfuckers eating pizzas and hamburgers and french fries, and they're like, I'm eating cupcakes and cakes, and look at me, I'm fucking shredded and my veins are popping. I'm like, yeah, but that person does the same thing after they lost the weight. They're not going to respond the same way to that food that you just said. And that's where I was. So when I lost my first 80 pounds, that was my trap. That's my story, actually. I forgot to tell it. So I opened up a magazine. These guys are fucking eating pizzas and everything. I'm like, I had a six pack at that point. That's when I was doing Muay Thai for 5 years. I got shredded. I was the shreddest I've ever been in my life. And I gained 60 pounds back.
Oh,
so I was like, fuck, because my body said, whoa, wait a minute.
Of chubster?
Yeah. No, like it was fat still. I came back because there's such thing called set point, set weight, whatever you want to call your body remembers where you kept it the longest, and it likes comfort. It doesn't like change. You know how you start a new job, you get anxious, you go somewhere on a trip, it might be fun, but it's anxious because you don't know anything, you have nothing planned. But the body likes routine. So
this makes a lot of sense. I feel this because it's like I can snap back because I kept it there the longest.
Yes. So if you kept your body, that's why a skinny person that tries to gain weight, they're like, oh, I gained 15 pounds, but I lost it all. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you have to train your body to like that 15 pound gain now for the next year. And then maybe you'll get to keep 10 pounds of it and then do it again and then do it again. But then you're going to look back 4 or 5 years later and be like, oh shit, I'm not 140 pounds anymore. I'm 180 and I'm shredded. I'm jacked. Lean muscle. Yeah. That fat person, overweight person, obese person, they have to lose the weight and be like, wait a minute, you now going to stay here. And I'm going to that's why for a woman that's been pregnant, going back to what I said earlier, if a woman's pregnant for 9 months and she does exercise throughout, it's only 9 months out of her cycle of being lean. She can bounce right back. But if you were obese and overweight for 10 years, 15 years, you're going to have I tell people too, you didn't get overweight in 1 year. You got overweight in the last 10 years. It might take you 8, 9, 10 years to solve this problem. To reteach your body, you know what I mean? It's just, that's what the body is. You can't really.
That fucking sucks, bro.
It sucks.
It only sucks. It only sucks when we don't know what we're doing. Because once you correct all these things, it becomes very, very easy. Because then you listen to your body, and then it becomes part of a routine where it's like, if you fall off course because you guys went on a trip and you guys had a bad couple weeks or a week, you slap back right because you know exactly, like, yep, I slept wrong. Look at that. I ate at nighttime. Look at me. I feel bloated. I feel like shit. I did everything wrong. But you come back, you're right back into your routine because now you know the path. Yeah. You know to eat the right food at the right time, how to chew your food, what are your microbes, what is this doing to me? If I go to bed at the wrong time, well, how am I going to wake up tomorrow? And if you know all the answers, which today unfortunately has to be a lot of answers because like I said earlier, we fucked this up. Because back then you would go to bed at the right time. You know what I mean?
You would just be raised with the sun.
You ate real food.
I think that's a huge one that I didn't really want to look at.
The food?
Yeah, the food.
The food is your life force. You are what you eat. Yeah. And you are rebuilding your body with that food that you eat. That's your new flesh for up to 6 months. You got to remember that food that you consume today goes out the other channel in about a day or two. Hopefully you have a good digestive system. And that leaves your body. But that mineral, that vitamin, that toxic waste, that chemical, that artificial thing that you ate is now stuck in your body. And that is disrupting hormones, organs, and all that kind of stuff. And then your body's so amazing that if you allow it to, it can clean itself. It can cleanse itself, but you have to allow it to. You know? So it's okay. I do the 80-20 split. 80% of the time I'm perfect, 20% I like to enjoy. You know what I mean?
What do you enjoy?
Yeah.
I like wine. You know what I mean? I love wine. I love ice cream. I love anything that's sweet, like you, Whitney. Yeah. You know what I mean? I have a sugar addiction too as well, but I've learned how to not to be addicted to sugar anymore. But when I do enjoy sugar.
How did you learn not to be addicted to sugar anymore?
I learned that you have to heal insulin resistance because you don't have to be overweight and have a stomach hanging over your waistline to have insulin resistance or fatty liver. So like insulin resistance, just your organ got tired out. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And it's not producing insulin, and then the insulin is there responsible to grab the sugar out of your bloodstream and to convert it into energy. And if it cannot, then it has to take that energy and store it into a fat cell, and that goes into your liver most likely or around your waist, and that's called the visceral fat. And that's if you have insulin resistance, then you have if you have insulin resistance, then you have most likely leptin resistance. That's the chemical that analyzes that you ate something very good, and it says your hunger is good. You know what I mean? And
it
then
tells your eater to chill out.
yeah, that you ate, you're good. That's your hormone, that's satiation hormone, I believe, that where you're like now satisfied. But now that, let's say someone's got a fatty liver and has insulin resistance, those are the people that can eat and they're never satisfied and they need something sweet to eat after. Or they want to keep eating. Or an obese person, those signals don't get turned off. And it's just like you just want to keep eating and eating and eating and eating, right? And that's where hormones control everything. Your microbes control your whole body.
Seems like it.
And your microbes produce your hormones. Because your microbes need to be fed so they can break down the minerals and vitamins from the food that you ate so that they can be absorbed through your mucus, past your mucus into your bloodstream, and then your body gets to absorb it and then gets to restore itself from everything you stripped it from.
The organs.
They rule you. And this
organism.
is where we're going back to later, where I said is like, if you dilute that acid in the stomach and you can't digest the food properly, those microbes are so small, just like those microbes in the soil that they're breaking down the minerals that the actual root can absorb the mineral and vitamin. You are that root. Your intestinal tract is that root pretty much. So this is how your stomach lining looks like. Your stomach lining has sodium bicarbonate, and it's very, you store most of your water actually in your stomach lining. Because once the food content is gone, there's acid left over, and there's sodium bicarbonate in your stomach lining, and that neutralizes the acid that's left over, and that's why you don't burn from the inside out. And if someone has an ulcer in the stomach,
that's lucky.
Yeah, God made us good. I'm telling you, it's like if someone tells me there's no God, I'm like, how is this human or animal with this many functions that they are in synergy? You know what I mean? To function like this, you're not a machine.
Yeah,
you know?
The universe or
Think
God
about
or
it.
what? Yeah, it is.
Look how
it is entirely perfect, and
it's beautiful.
We overlook that constantly. And to just take a moment of gratitude to be like, I am so intertwined. Like, it's so complicated, but so divinely simple. I am such a divine creature that I can't even fully comprehend it holistically.
You have to be very thankful.
You have to be so grateful constantly. Even just like looking at Ralph, like, this thing has teeth and a nose like God's left hand and just understands what to eat. Yeah. Like, he understands what to eat.
He's got God in him. We all do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where, like, and we have this energy that's keeping us alive.
Sweet.
You know what I mean? And it's so, if anybody wants to take their own life and they don't like where they live, it's not that they don't want to. It's just they're chemically imbalanced. They're not happy. Now imagine how can you be happy if with all the stuff that we talked about so far and everything's out of balance. How can you be happy when you don't have good energy every day? And it chemically
it's hard to find gratitude on the top layer to say it and get there spiritually if you don't feel it.
That's right.
If you don't feel it from your root up through.
And why don't you feel it?
Because of something not being balanced in my physical being.
And why is that?
Because of my patterns.
And what those patterns are require you to consumption.
Yeah.
They throw everything off. So now if you don't eat well, you don't sleep well. And if you eat the wrong way, you're malfunctioning. And everything and that's where you talked about earlier. They don't want us to vibrate into the next level.
The easiest thing to do is just to be fat and eat cheese. And that's it. And you're there and fuck, that feels good sometimes too.
In the moment. But not after the moment. You know what I mean? And here's the next part of it. You know what I mean? You eat this food. Your acid breaks down all this stuff. Your microbes are living. That's why it's so important to eat sauerkraut.
Kimchi. I just got a big bucket of kimchi today.
Anything. Some dairy. We eat cashew cheese now, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Because like I don't like the dairy that we use here. Goat's cheese. Sheep's cheese. Because hopefully those animals were fed grass only at this point in time because they're not mass produced. Eating a wide variety of vegetables and fruits. You know what I mean? Dark leafy greens, dark vegetables.
What's dark leafy greens?
Arugula, spinach, bok choy, kale,
we fuck up
parsley.
Some bok choy on the regular.
Parsley, all day. Parsley, arugula.
Collard greens?
Collard greens. Brussels sprouts. I know it's not green, but cauliflower, radishes, garlic. Anything that has microbes in every form. Why? Because you have billions and trillions of little microbes living inside of you, and they want to be fed too.
Yeah, a little garlic. Go ahead, little garlic, and mingle with my body.
Yeah, and if they don't get fed, they go away. And that's where we have deficiencies because later on that food never gets absorbed. And that's why it's so important to eat whole foods. Because fiber, saliva, your teeth broke down the protein because protein needs to be broken down with teeth. Then acid melts the protein. This is the last part of it. Fiber doesn't get absorbed. You poop it out. That's your stool. So fiber are the brushes, but the fiber are not the brushes. They are technically, but they're the whole particles that they get to travel through your whole intestinal tract so that your microbes get fed along the way because they're fucking hungry too. Now, if you starve those motherfucking microbes, they'll start eating your stomach lining, the mucus lining that you have in your intestinal tract. And if they break through that intestinal tract because you didn't feed them the right diet, now you have immune problems because those microbes now spilled into your bloodstream. The minerals that they break, when they eat the food, they break the food down. Those are the vitamins and the minerals. Those minerals now get to pass because they're so tiny, the stomach lining, which is, the mucus, and they go and you absorb them. But if they get hungry, this is why it's important to eat a whole variety of foods to feed them, because if they starve, they're like, well, fuck, you're not feeding me. I'm going to start eating you. They start eating away your mucus lining, and they break into your bloodstream.
What feeds them? Fiber?
All fiber is foods. That's why fiber is important.
So
our ancestors ate over 100 grams of fiber a day. We're not even reaching 15. We should be eating 30 minimum to 100.
Top 3 foods that have fiber in them.
Any vegetable.
Okay, so we're doing good. We eat veggies. Yeah. No?
We could probably add more vegetables.
More variety.
What type of veggies have fiber most?
Well, anything.
Beets?
Anything that you see that has substance. So if you eat something like that has a lot of liquid in it, that's less fiber. So a watermelon, not a lot of fiber. An orange, not a lot. Well, if
celery.
Potato.
Celery's good.
Celery's good? I thought celery was high water content.
It is, but your body wants water. Your body needs water, wants water.
Potato has fiber?
It can, yeah. And some minerals and stuff. But I'll focus more on dark leafy greens, not the nightshade family. Nightshade family has a lot of lectins. Lectins, if you have a weak stomach lining and it's already broken, they cause leaky gut, if you've heard of that term.
Yeah, I've heard of that term.
Leaky gut is little spike proteins because your stomach lining is only one cell membrane deep. And those are like little slithers, and they cut little cuts in your, and then all of that shit that I was talking about, those microbes, if they don't get fed, they finally get to go into your bloodstream, and it causes havoc. Alarm goes off. That's your immune system. All the white blood cells in your body have to rush to wherever the opening is, somewhere in your intestinal tract, because those microbes got hungry and they ate through the mucus.
What are these? These nightshades? What?
So
these are eggplants.
Yes.
Some of the potato family, yeah. I think beets are included in that.
Yeah.
Are some peppers nightshades?
Peppers, yeah. No, I don't know if peppers are included. I can't remember off the top, but they have a lot of lectins. And that's why like eating a skin on a tomato is bad. But you can eat a tomato, you know what I mean? Now, if you have blood type O and you have good stomach acids.
I feel that. I feel like raw cabbage, that feeling when it goes into.
Yeah, so like cooked cabbage would be better for you. And
I like a raw tomato.
Yeah. A raw tomato is good, but with the skin, unless you're a blood type O, you can't really digest it that well because blood type O's have good stomach acids. You're a blood type O?
Yeah.
See? And that's biofeedback. Now, when I first met Alana, she's like, I'm a blood type A minus, I believe. And I'm like, and she's like, I'm a vegan. What do you think? She actually said, I'm a vegan. What do you think? I said, this is when the first time we met. I'm like, what's your blood type? She goes, A minus. I'm like, no. I'm like, you stay there. I'm like, because you have weak stomach acids. Blood type AABs usually are the vegans.
Wow.
Because you can't give a blood type AAB on animal product diet because they can't digest it really well. They don't know what shit. They feel fucking sluggish and they feel tired because they can't break down the protein, especially if they're eating and drinking and not chewing their food enough. That will make them sluggish. Where a blood type O might be able to digest that protein really well. You can digest tomatoes really well and peppers, the skin on them. But a blood type AAB or a B is not that.
Spinach, I don't like raw spinach specifically.
Yeah, and that's got a lot of oxalates. You know what I mean? That's why cooking spinach is better than eating raw spinach. You know what I mean? Because you're breaking down the first part of the process. And it doesn't mean that's the right answer for everybody. At the end of the day, the real secret is just eat more vegetables, eat less artificial food, and sleep at the right time. And then your body will age slower. You can actually reverse aging. That's where we're like,
boom.
That should just be my if that doesn't get my ass going, reverse aging.
Yeah, because you have telomeres that sit on top of your stem cells, and telomeres that's what they call telomere support. So you have stem cells, and if these telomeres fall off, your stem cells unwind, and that's how we age. So your stem cells are there, and we can, we have to protect them. And that's where, if you have bad sleep, if you eat a bad diet, if you're malnutrition, those telomeres, those little caps that protect the stem cells, they fade and they fall off, and that's your biological.
This is what I wanted to ask you. You said that if you don't feed your microbiome, they can go away. Can
Yes.
we get them back?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So they can reproduce as well.
Well, reproduce, we got to put them back in there
Oh.
by eating the diet. That's why it's so important to eat a wide range of food.
Because they're in everything.
And everything. They're on everything and in everything, right? So they dictate everything. And that's why it's like if everybody just eats processed food, well, you're eating no microbes. And everybody wants to go on a probiotic. But that's not the solution either. Probiotics are there if a doctor puts you on antibiotics, it drops like a nuke. You kill all the good guys and the bad guys one shot. Boom, done. Nuclear bomb. And that's why every doctor should, if they put a woman or a man on an antibiotic, the protocol should be you should be on a probiotic every time you take an antibiotic, because you need to replenish the microbes that are about to feed the food that you eat, or else you're going to get malnutrition.
They had me on antibiotics for ingrown toenails from the age of 12 to 15, and I was fat for like 2 of those years.
Yeah, and that's where they took. Have you ever heard of feces transplants? Where like you can implant new feces, like you can take poop, but it's done through a lab of a good microbiome, and they
stick it
in capsules, and you swallow them, and you replanted yourself a new microbiome, and all of a sudden you start to lose weight.
Just by swallowing your own shit?
Other
Not
people,
your
other
shit.
people that have good microbes in their
Oh, you swallow other
Healthy
people's
people's shit.
Yeah, so like very
Oh
common.
my god, so
Yeah.
like when the Greek gods or whatever are like, I am such a perfect specimen, others will
Well, they did
Eat
the
my
work,
shit.
obviously.
Yeah, it's like, you
I
know
got
what?
on a good pattern, and now people want to gulp my droppings just so they can set their body off in a good situation.
Some people are gifted in the sense that like they were brought up perfectly. They had the right food naturally. Maybe their parents didn't know what they're doing, but they
they
were
were
just
taught to sleep.
tradition was there, right? You got slapped on the hand if you ate after a certain time because you didn't eat your dinner. No snacking. Go to your room at 7:00. But now it's like you go to your room, now you're on a cell phone. But back then it's like TV's done at 6:00. Our parents were already doing this for us.
Yeah.
This is the
that's
first.
true.
This is the first time that parents have lost control, and the big corporations have taken over because now they got in the hands of kids. This is the first time they can market to everybody and fuck everybody up. Parents used to have control over that. Now we don't. I'm not a parent, but now parents don't have control. Now they're
Holy shit! You just made house rules seem important and helpful.
yeah.
That's crazy.
The corporations got into the bedrooms now of children and kids, and look how what's happening. Why do these people that create all these software companies, they don't allow their kids to download their apps? You've seen those documentaries.
Yeah.
For what reason?
Yeah.
Because they're addicting, and they're being programmed anything that these corporations want them to teach. And that's why Facebook got busted and everybody else, because they know exactly how addicting it is and how they're targeting young girls and young individuals. And I remember my nephew freaking out the one time because they took his iPad away. Now he's older, he's not like that anymore. But all the
They
tantrums.
were fully addicted to even this.
That's what I would do if you took a piece of cake away.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, Winnie is actually like, are you seriously like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's everybody's got their vice. If it's not a video game, it's not chocolate. If it's not drugs, it's not caffeine. It's not sugar. It's whatever. It's an addiction.
I feel like you're addicted to self-betterment.
It is. You know what I mean? And that's earlier.
It's a good thing.
Earlier you asked like how did I become like that? I started off with videos. First starting everything on its own, just freestyling, and it was back and forth, and it was never sustainable.
Yeah, I know about those rabbit holes.
Right. And then I went to my first conference at 29.
Conference?
Yeah, I was selling isogenics, online marketing for supplements, and I went to my first conference. Just got on an airplane. I broke my collarbone snowboarding, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for a ride. So I booked myself. It's the first time I ever flew by myself. I went to a conference for isogenics because I was one of their people, like salespeople.
Where was it?
In Vegas. It was the first time I saw Vegas. I went there for 3 days, 2 nights.
You flew from St. Catharines?
Yeah. But this is why this is where my life changed. Isogenics is okay. You know what I mean? They're telling people to drink powder as a meal replacement. I'm not big for that. You can use them to augment your meals and get more minerals in, but that was the wrong way of teaching people. But Dr. Michael Colgan, I've never read a book in my life that on my own. Like I was forced to during school, and you'd fake read and get by and stuff like that. I hated reading. I just couldn't stay there because never liked reading. It was just stupid.
Never penetrated that way. You're probably not that sort of learner.
Well, no, it's because I need my brain works differently. I'm a creator, and I love learning, but I cannot stay focused on something I don't like. And this is where this thing took over my life. I didn't know it was going to be like this. You know what I mean? I went to this conference
In Vegas.
And Dr. Michael Colgan went on stage. He was one of the guys that formulated a lot of the powders, which he was very holistic. He was from Seattle. Now he lives out in BC. And my story, I forget what age he was at, but that's the first book. I have a picture on my Instagram with it, the Nutrition for Champions. That's the first book I ever read without anybody forcing me to, that I actually wanted to read. And why I bought it is I actually bought like 10 books that day on the brain, on what they did to our food. This is where it all started. This was the baseline. So I'm at this conference and he goes on stage and he starts talking about how he fell off a horse at like age 67, I think. And he broke his back. He was paralyzed, waist down. Motherfucker rehabilitated himself at the age of like 67, and then he's walking right in front of me on stage. And this is, you can't fake this shit. And then they have their booth set up and stuff like that, and he has his whole booth set up with all of his books. I bought every single book that he had to offer, and on the flight was like 2-3 hours, whatever it was, from Vegas to Toronto. I read his whole book on the way back, one shot. That's how addicted, and I never stopped ever since. So now I'm 140 books deep. That's where I learned all this stuff from. Not all of them, probably about 110 books are all about nutrition and composition and organs and hormones and blood types and food and what they did and da-da-da-da and so on. And then other ones are philosophy. I love philosophy. I love stoicism, stuff like that.
We've been learning a lot from stoicism lately.
Because that's character. You know what I mean? That's how you should carry yourself through life, and that's how the Stoics did, and that's how people are meant to be. You know what I mean? Because that just brings betterness to oneself and others. You know what I mean? And but
we love the Tao. We used to have a section of the show, a segment called "Do the Tao," and
I love it.
We should play it. We should do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we should do it. But continue what you were saying on.
I was gonna say. So I started off with videos at first. I remember videos. And then I started this is after I came back from the conference, and I read all the books, and I was like, whatever. And I was amazed by them, you know, and that was awesome. And then I'm like, okay, what is more? And you know how hard it is to find books or the path? Like, where do I start? Like what you guys said earlier, like, how do you really find the doctor that you should follow? Who's really speaking the truth? Love Dr. Michael Colgan. He broke it down. He talked about how he has in his books pictures of how a cattle used to look like. That's why I used that example earlier. He said that they started putting sugar into our food. He told in his books, he talked about pH levels, because no disease can survive in an alkaline body. Everything is acidic. You know what I mean? So coffee is acidic, caffeine is acidic, working out is acidic because you produce acid in the muscles. Eating any animal product is acidic. Any kind of protein except plant-based protein is acidic. But acid in the body is good, but we have to neutralize the acid with alkalinity. So we have to eat more alkaline units, like what we talked about, dark leafy greens, dark vegetables, because vegetables that are dark have chlorophyll, and chlorophyll has a lot of magnesium. That's the blood of the plants. So when you look under a microscope, the blood plant looks identical to human blood, except we have iron in the middle of our blood. They have magnesium in their blood.
Wow.
And that's why the plants are keeping us alive. And and under the microscope, they have an identical structure to human blood, except the difference is we have iron. That's why you know about iron deficiencies, because you're a woman, you lose blood every month. And iron ages us. That's why for men, iron is not the best, because it actually ages you very quickly. That's why a lot of bodybuilders look very old, because they kind of tend to eat a lot of animal products. A lot of iron is in animal products, especially red meat. So that's the whole story about iron. But so we have to neutralize the acid, because here's the scary part. If we don't eat enough, this is how you get osteoporosis. Earlier we talked about sarcopenia. If you don't eat enough protein, your body starts to lose its muscle mass, and then you become, you lose your metabolism, because your bones need. Your metabolic rate depends on your bone density and your muscle mass, because your muscle mass is your mitochondria, and your muscles are the customers for the food that you eat. So the more lean muscle mass you have on your body, the more calories you can eat, because you're more thermogenic. So your metabolism works better. But here's the crazy part about all this, guys. Watch this. If you are too acidic and you don't neutralize the acid in your body by eating an alkaline diet, not only can all diseases in the body have to live in acid, and then they all need to cancer needs glucose and needs acid to survive. So if you become alkaline and you have a good working liver, cancer cannot survive in your body, because we all have cancer in our bodies. It's dormant, and it hasn't mutated yet into a tumor cell, right? Here's the other part of it. If you don't neutralize the acid in your body by eating an alkaline diet, I know I'm repetitive, but your body will draw its own calcium from the bones, because calcium is your most alkaline unit in your body. So your body will neutralize itself and it will draw its own from the teeth, from the bones, and that's how we have hollow bones, and osteoporosis becoming a big thing.
And our bodies are so smart to do that.
Yes. So your body has to. So you don't have to do it for yourself. That's the other part of it. This is how fucking crazy this is. Like, your body gets to heal itself. It gets to rebuild itself. It gets to neutralize everything and keep itself in balance as long as you allow it to. And it can do it for a long time. But if you challenge your body for about 10 years of just keep bashing it, you're gonna have osteoporosis in your 40s and your 50s. Thinning of the bones, because your body says, okay, I need that part because you're producing too much acid, and I need to make sure that you're alive and you have a good body and you don't feel tired tomorrow and you have energy and strength to go throughout the day. I need you to be okay, so I'm gonna do it for you, because you're not doing it for yourself. And your body will take you for as long as it can until it cannot, and that's when disease comes through. And when disease comes through, it's not that it's too late, but it's so hard to correct, because you said, oh, this is overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm like, but we gotta start. We gotta
preventative.
Yes, and that's where this new system that we have. It's not preventative. It's reactive. They're not telling us about any of this shit. I bet you a lot of this stuff is the first time you're ever hearing a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it's incredible.
It's blowing my mind, and also making me be like, fuck, I have some work ahead of me.
Yeah, and your bones. You know, everybody thinks your bones are calcium, but that's a lie. Your bones are about 12 minerals and 64 trace minerals. Everything is your bones are made up of: phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, copper, zinc, iron.
That makes more sense.
And calcium is your magic carpet that all your minerals get to ride on inside of your bones and bone structures. And decalcification is a big thing. And this is why we need to eat more vegetables and dark leafy greens and fermented foods, because they have the vitamin K2. K2 is the vitamin in our body that decalcifies the calcium in your arteries and everywhere that's in your muscles, because we have enough calcium in our bodies, but it's stuck in places called calcification. K2 is the metabolizer. It loosens up the calcium. Then the calcium can take all the minerals that you're eating, hopefully when your digestion is working properly and you're breaking down the food and absorbing all the minerals that you're eating. Now the calcium is available to go, come on, and it jumps into your bone. And magnesium is the water hunger molecule. That's why when you buy Celtic sea salt, it's wet. There's 3 magnesiums in Celtic sea salt, and it has 85 minerals. That's why it's better than pink Himalayan. It's over-manufactured because pink Himalayan only has 72. But the main driver of Celtic sea salt has 3 magnesiums, and magnesium is your magnet for potassium and sodium. And then that magnesium can take the water with the potassium and sodium and store it inside your cell. And that's how you store electricity in your body, because your electrical pump in your heart and your every single muscle in your body, which is your mitochondria, is a potassium-sodium pump. And that's how your heart pumps. On the inside of your cell, you have 2 potassium cells. On the outside, you have 1 sodium cell. And so that's how your mitochondria works. So when you're tired and you're dependent on caffeine, I think you're just dehydrated and you're not electrified. And then by grounding yourself, that's what grounding is. The earth grounds us. That's why hugging a tree is good and touching your ground, because that's what grounding is. We're energy.
I've been hugging trees a lot lately because I've been having anxiety in my chest.
You're releasing the energy.
And I go up to it, and within the first minute I start to calm, and the second minute I start to
you're grounding yourself.
Let go, and in the third minute I can literally feel my energy field used to be zzz, and now it's gone. It's oh, it's just me again. And then if I'm there for 5 minutes, I'm more at peace in my whole body. Hug a tree for 5 minutes.
I can feel a literal, even not 5 minutes, I can feel a literal sense of grounding where I feel that I'm in my body in a new way. I feel it's almost I'm experiencing gravity in a different way.
It's the counter to the electricity that they have us on, and they're frying us. They're frying ourselves, so it grounds you. It removes
Hug
all that.
Tree.
Yeah, or touch the ground. Grounding. EMFs are frying us, so we got to neutralize that electricity that they're zapping us, right? And we used to touch the ground more. We used to walk. Shoes were invented for the wrong reason. You know what I mean? They're actually fucking us up. Technically.
Shoes.
Yeah, Americans, take off your shoes in your home. What are you doing?
That one's wild.
Yeah, but that's another one. That's a whole other thing. But you know what I mean? But
you've been outside all day.
Yeah, but we need to touch the ground. We need to touch earth, and that's a whole different thing. You need to ground. And the study that I saw was a gentleman that all the disease in his body wasn't going away. I forgot his name. He's the one that kind of did it. He was traveling and he had a lot of stress because you travel. There's a lot of EMFs in airplanes, and a lot of radiation.
That's another thing with all
yeah.
the travel we did. It fucking
Yeah.
fucks up the energy flow.
It does. And he was having trouble sleeping, and then he took a wire and put it out his window. It's beautiful. And he grounded himself, and he tied a wire around his pinky toe, and he slept through the whole night. And then they saw the inflammation on the body. The inflammation went down by like 67% under like the you know
what did he do?
He went to bed. Now you can buy. You don't have to do that technique, but this is the author that created grounding. And now there's mats. You can buy grounding mats.
That's the mat that your dad had that I love so much.
I sit on a grounding mat every day.
Yeah.
Alana has it. It's plugged into the wall.
It's interesting.
You know that little sock. You know in every single
Yeah,
socket.
just the little guy.
The little thing.
Yeah.
You plug it in there, and that's grounding. That's the grounder. You're grounding the house to the outside because everything's grounded. And it has to be grounded. So when you sit on a thing, you can sleep on these mats and you get a deeper sleep, more relaxed sleep, and it takes the inflammation down from your body. They showed it under like an infrared camera, how much inflammation there's in the body. They showed up to like 75% reduction of inflammation.
Yeah, I could feel that happening while I meditated on that mat. Like it felt like something was being sucked out of my body.
Yes.
Like water emptying out of a tub almost.
It's the same thing that you hug in the tree.
Yeah. That's sick, man.
I love that. I want to do that again soon.
Yeah, so like
I want to change my life right now after this conversation.
We're also
This is
neighbors.
Slightly overwhelming.
Yeah, I love it.
How sick is that?
I love it. This whole experience is amazing. You know what I mean? And like this conversation is amazing.
Dude,
yeah, this
you
is
blessed
awesome.
us.
Fuck yeah.
This has
There's-
been so
you
amazing.
blessed
See what I'm
us. You
saying?
called us out. I don't know if I'm ready for it.
But do you know what's
I wanna eat
crazy?
chocolate.
There's like so much more. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why it's like,
We're gonna do a part 2 and 3 with you for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah, well, you know, let's get
We
it.
just
I
had
know.
to get one in the books.
I know. This is amazing. You know what I mean? And this is why, like, you know, the more we move through life, there's more going to be challenges because there's more technology, and in a way, there's more advancement. We're going further away what we're meant to be. You know, and that's why we're disconnected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We
So
have to remain connected.
yeah, to ourselves
Cherish the earth.
and replenish ourselves
our
with
home.
energy.
And
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
connected as a community. That was something beautiful at your first shop, at your last shop, and especially now at your new shop. People coming in for the hang, like, oh, that's just
So
you're
sick.
such a gem, man.
You know
yeah, if you're in Toronto,
Appreciate
you
you.
have to check out Lift the City Supplements. Just pay them a visit, and like, it's just such a nice. It feels like church, like this, like all these blessings you just gave us
Yeah.
of knowledge. It feels like church. You like revitalize people to refocus. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you know what? It just is what life's about. I give energy because, you know, this is something that I've been touched by God recently, like, you know what I mean? And all the way through, and I just finally got in tune with it. This is like, I never knew I was supposed to be this person, but I believe that in my past, as we reincarnate, I was a healer. And it's not that it took me too long to realize that, but it's hard to find that. And then,
Hard to accept that.
hard to accept that. And it's like, and it's so weird because it's like, when do you realize you're that person? You know what I mean? Because like what you said, it's like, how do you know so much? And to me, this is easy. Like, I get excited when I learned, you know what I mean? That 2 days ago, that if
You
melatonin,
can tell by the way that you like retain the information and then integrate it into conversation. Like it's super digestible. I'm a little like, where should I start? But I'm going to watch it and be inspired. But like you can tell like the energy in your body. Like you've been sitting upright. I've been like, I'm cross-legged. I've been back here. You've been like
You're
here.
excited.
I get these,
You get the vibes.
that's when I know that something's going on. When I get these throughout the day, probably 15 to 20 times.
You're
and
guided.
It just happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like I feel that this is the purpose. Like this was and maybe there was a time in your life that recently you're lost, like you said, and you just didn't know, and you're going through every day, and it's becoming a challenge because we're aging. But it's like, am I aging too fast? And why do I feel like this today? And then you have a good day because everything aligned perfectly, but then you have a couple shitty days. And for women, it's already harder too because of the cycles. You know what I mean? So that's all hormonal challenges that you know about that she goes through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's hard for every single woman. That's why I told Alana every day I love her because I said it today. I'm like, well, I play it safe. I just tell you I love you every day and we're good. You know what I mean? Because when she's going through her bad cycles, like, you know what I mean? And she's a good.
It's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, we have good communication about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's just like where like there's so much more. Like, you know, I'm like, and why is no one teaching this shit?
And just to be frank about it and open about it and discuss it. I know it's why was that caked into like shame? Like, you got to deal with that alone. It's like, this happens.
You know what I mean? I just think that this finances, that's what, going back to like how they're setting up the system. They should be teaching about health, how these organs are working. They're saying, okay, all these wonderful things that we've created on this planet, but this is how it's going to affect you. This, you can enjoy them, but this is how you can counter them.
Yeah.
And then you get to live the full potential of life, what it was meant to be. You mean, because it kind of sucks. So I always tell people, I'm like, I don't want to be jacked. I don't want to be big. I just like the way I feel right now, and I'm okay with it. But it's like, we have a duty to ourselves and to the spirit to challenge ourselves in a way where it's like, you know, we don't ever get to be 20 again.
Yeah.
We don't ever get to be 30 again. And, you know, we can't change the biological clock. And then the worst thing I could feel, my fear is like, always was like, am I going to be obese for the rest of my life? Or will I be able to correct it now? And it's like, and is it even possible? Because you feel like you're broken, right?
Yeah.
So I believe every human should be able to, you know, experience like waking up every day with a lot of energy and feeling good. And then, you know, yeah, life is not always easy. There's always going to be problems, good. And I have challenges too. Everybody does.
Yeah.
But are we ready for that challenge is the question.
Yeah.
And the
or
man,
at least, are you willing to explore it?
yes. And the God in us is challenging us because he needs soldiers. Because like I said earlier, this is a spiritual war that people don't know about. And it's being challenged through food, through other aspects that we go through. And that's like the real deal, right? So I don't know. I know we're talking a lot. You know what I mean? I don't even know where we're at in the podcast.
No, I think this is like a 2-hour event at this point, which is longer than we usually do.
Okay.
I don't know what that was. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
Let's
for
wrap
sure.
it up
Yeah.
because like, you know, I also, you know what I tell everybody.
I just keep getting high and going and grabbing snacks.
I know. I'm like,
water.
he's talking about how you should have stopped eating 2 hours ago, and you're like,
but
you know what it
you
is?
gotta implement it slowly, Win.
Yes, one step at a time.
yeah,
And you
just
gotta enjoy yourself where you're at.
Yes.
Having the conversation was step one.
I'm aiming at not sleeping in tomorrow.
Perfect.
Nice.
That feels just about right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And this is, you know what? Honestly, like, I snapped out of it in one day because I was forced to. But I tried from 10 to 20 to become this person. So it took me 10 years. But finally, you know, that's what I mean. Sometimes you have to be pushed into it. And like, unfortunately, like, I don't wish that onto anybody. But like, don't wait until the disease takes over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I got obese to the point where I ended up in the hospital. No one should have to go through that, where like you have your heartbeat that you kind of lose yourself for about 5 seconds, and you're like, and then you snap back, and it's like that feeling sucked. Now imagine that happened to me if I didn't lose weight, and that never happened to me. Today I might have been someone different, but that wasn't his plan for me. You know what I mean? And that's why I believe who I was earlier in life. And sometimes you have to get that little nudge. You know what I mean? And listen and be aware by not being intoxicated in any kind of form, because God is always giving you signs left, right, and center. Our question is, are we seeing them? Are we picking up on them? Because it doesn't mean we were not going to get to our end destination, but we can get there 10x faster or better, or we get to our full potential because we were more hyper aware of what's going on around us. And that's why where I was going earlier, where I kind of got off a couple things, and I stopped doing caffeine and other things because I was going too slow. I was missing things and repeating myself and refixing them. Meanwhile, it's like, I need to wake up because I'm 40. You know what I mean? So it's like at 40, I quit caffeine and smoking weed for now. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with smoking, but it didn't in my personal experience, it was slowing me down. And
that's what we encourage, a healthy relationship with it.
Has to be, disciplined stoners.
There's seasons.
Yes.
There's seasons.
And there's a time and a place, you know what I mean? And then I had to go to extreme, to the point where I cut myself off, just like losing the weight, where it was just like one day I'm like, no, I'm going to lose the weight. This was another one. And that's where I've noticed the clarity, where now I'm getting more things done and I'm aware of things and I'm more hyper-focused. Now I get to enjoy caffeine if I want to, because I'm not addicted to it. I get to enjoy sugar now because I detox my liver and my kidneys and everything else and my bloodstream, and I heal my insulin resistance even if I'm not overweight. And now I get to enjoy a sweet. I finally ate ice cream for the first time, like in a long time recently.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
congratulations.
Like, 2 years ago, a year ago, because before it wasn't a thing. I would never eat a pizza I was scared to eat pizza and French fries.
Me too. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was like that for a while.
I mean, that sounds very smart. That sounds you being like, I'm not sure if having this will trigger
Yes.
more of it, which is this kind of that cycle that I was
Yeah.
telling you I'm in with sugar for sure.
Yeah, and that's where we kind of have to kind of like draw the line and be, at one point, have to govern ourselves.
Gotta be disciplined.
Disciplined stoners.
Bro,
Arty, this was so nice.
I love it.
Thank you so
joining.
much for
Love you,
coming on the
bro.
show. You're such a wealth of knowledge.
This was awesome.
It was so beautiful.
It's been
Thank
cool
you.
to watch you move around and pivot and grow and now land back here in this moment.
You're gonna start your own school, man. You're an educator. There's something beautiful with that, having a platform and speaking to 100 people a day. I see that for you.
I love that. You know what I mean? And I love anybody, doesn't matter who it is. It's just whoever needs help. Doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete. Everybody can learn about their organs, and that's the beautiful part about it. You don't have to be obese. You don't have to be fat. You don't have to be a drug addict. You don't have to be an alcoholic. You don't have to be anything. This is just us regaining our energy back. We'll leave it at that.
Boom. Big bars.
Boom, let's go.
Share. You know that you want to share this with someone.
And you know that you want to go peep Lift the City supplements and see what someone who thinks like this puts on his shelves.
And we love you very much.
And thanks for watching. And Arty,
Thank you.
thank you
Love
so
you guys.
much.
Much love.
Love you, brother.
Much love. Thank you so much.
Thank you for blessing us. You're such a gem. This will be one of many chats.
I love it. This was a long time coming. Love you guys.
Yeah, you too, bro. Peace.
Hey, listen, man. We can't smoke on no meds, homie. And I ain't into sports and stuff. So I be putting my athleticism in smoking. Yeah. You know what we smoking on? Light it up a Ellevan, flexing with the super strong, puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Gotta kill a smoke alarm, throw smoke rings at the throat like a water gun. You know word like a sing-along, set it, let it be like a bet you betting on. It's a bud throne that I'm sitting on. Phone it in like a telethon. When it's said and done, everyone wanna be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Puffing like a smoke-a-thon. I be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Only hitting that hella bomb. Yeah, gotta kill a smoke alarm. We be puffin' like a puffathon. We be puffin' like a puffathon. I'm like bad boy, baby. Puff my main thing. Yes, terps in the nose. THC in my veins. CBG for the highs. CBD for the pain. Shout out every other element that we haven't measured yet, because education has been restrained. Why? I wonder why. Cannabis, this fucking guy, he goes up in the pharma cabinet and says, I'll replace you and take you out the game. Good night, alright. And you fight that have been prescribed. It's time to take a hike, vibe, and you're gonna kill this guy. Smoke a joint every morning and you'll be fine. The red cherry is where I find the light. You know what we smoking on? Light it up a Ellevan, flexing with the super strong, puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Gotta cut a smoke alarm, throw smoke rings at the throat like a water gun. You know word like a sing-along, set it, let it be like a bet you betting on. It's a bud throne that I'm sitting on. Phone it in like a telethon. When it's said and done, everyone wanna be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Puffing like a smoke-a-thon. I be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Only hitting that hella bomb. Yeah, gotta kill a smoke alarm. We be puffing like a puffathon. We be puffing like a puffathon. Disciplined stoners out on the scene, matching tracksuits and Jordan 3s. Can't wait to see you and smoke more weed. What's that you got there, a blunt for me? Fuck it, I'm lucky, I love you too. Let's see you all drop some new stuff too. What's there a Sunday on a Sunday cruise? Doing reviews for her next skew. Smoking the fire and we hella blitz. I got my paws on shit nobody gets. Outstanding buds like they came from the drip. Throwing some primo on top of the tip. Never am stiff, I love the community. At an event talking like it's just you and me. Culture and industry making its history. We are just happy to be here and getting so lit. You know what we smoking on? Light it up a Ellevan, flexing with the super strong, puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Gotta cut a smoke alarm, throw smoke rings at the throat like a water gun. You know word like a sing-along, set it, let it be like a bet you betting on. It's a bud throne that I'm sitting on. Phone it in like a telethon. When it's said and done, everyone wanna be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon.
like bad boy, baby. Puff our main thing. Yes, terps in the nose. THC in my veins. CBG for the highs. CBD for the pain. Shout out every other element that we haven't mentioned yet, because education has been restrained. Why? I wonder why. Cannabis, this fucking guy, he goes up in the pharma cabinet and says, I'll replace you.
Yeah, it's so smoky. We smoked it out. It won't stop because of all the weed being smoked. You ever see something so true that you couldn't unsee it? Something that you just knew would serve you. Whether it be self-awareness, plant medicine, a lover, a career. That's what we get down to here. Welcome to Disciplined Stoners, the gateway drug to mindfulness. Spark up or don't, and enjoy the show. Glad you're here.